I go live, where we do it live. Ah. Ardent, welcome to the live stream. Ardent writes, hello all, here early for once. Yes, you are. You may be the only person in the chat for today's show. We'll see how many football fans bailed on us today. I know that's a fact. Let me just make sure I'm rolling here. I'm rolling? Yeah, okay. Stream seems to be good. How you doing? Welcome to the live stream where we do it live. The Hollywoke Hot Tank live stream where we talk about the important things in the world, movies, and how Hollywood is utter crap. Oh my God. Wait till you see the box office today. It's so bad. This is one of the worst box office weekends. It might be one of the worst ones in history. I mean, this one is brutal. I didn't look at the total yet. There's no way it hit 60. There's no way. There's no way this even hit 60. I don't know if it hit. I'm going to predict it might have been under 50, which is really low now. That's really low. I mean, for the last couple of weeks, we hit around 60. And that's low. Movies by themselves do 60 million. That's just domestic. It's just domestic. That's nuts. That is nuts. But before we get into it, I will do a brief recap of my week. I was at the iHeart Horror Convention on yesterday. And shout out to Holly, who may or may not show up to the chat tonight. I don't know what she's doing. But she was in the chat for a couple of different weeks. She was there and brought me a Arizona sweet tea. I don't drink sweet tea, but she didn't know that. It was very nice of her. And but she saw the iced tea I was drinking in the chat, so that was very nice of her to bring me a sweet tea. She helps run the show, and it was a good show. Solid show. There were bands. There was lots of horror stuff. Sold some books. Today I did a small market at Valares. Dead Soul is here. Hey, Dead Souls. Hey. All right. Now we got ourselves a chat here. Had two in the chat. Did Valares, which is a little market. I didn't sell that many books. I didn't lose money, but it was like, it's 15 minutes from my house. What the hell? I didn't think it would be great. It actually started to rain at one point, and I was just like, oh no. Please don't tell me I came out here just to get rained on, but it stopped and I got out of there. It's a shame. It was only a 3-hour event and people started packing up at like quarter after 1. I couldn't blame them because it did start to drizzle. So, but it's weird to me that everybody shows up. This was only till 11 to 2, right? It's only 3 hours long. It costs $35 for a table. So you got to make $35 just to break even, which I did, and I made a little money, but Dead Souls, I came here trying to get my mind off the 2 hockey games I lost. Oh no. Oh no. I'm so sorry. I assume you're Canadian if you were in that many hockey games. Sorry about that, my friend. Yeah, so it's weird to me that people bail on a market. And this is like a little outdoor market. Most people sell like knickknacks, and it's mostly all women. It's just me and a bunch of women selling their knickknacks. And then it's funny to watch the guys who show up at this thing because they're obviously it's the polar opposite of a comic book convention, right? So you go to a comic book convention and it's all guys, and then a couple of their girlfriends or wives get dragged to the thing, and they'll bring their kids because they think this is a fun thing for the kids to do. But the women have absolutely no clue what they're doing. They don't really want to be there. Some of them are just sort of barely tolerating it. And then you go to one of these markets, and it's complete opposite. It's the women who are like, oh, look at this thing. It's so cute. Look at this knickknack. Wouldn't this look nice in the bathroom? And the guys are just like, yeah, whatever. And I saw this guy, and I guess his wife had bought something, and it was in one of those little tiny bags, like tiny little shopping bags. And he's walking around with this little bag. It looked like a purse, and I just laughed at him. But like, I I started laughing, and then I stopped myself because I didn't want him to see me laughing at him. Oh man, Arden, I'm here to get my mind off HTML and CSS homework. Good. I know very little. I know a little bit of HTML. I can kind of cut and paste it. That's about it. Dead Souls. I went to the store, and some guy kept caressing anime characters stuffy. It was so weird. Really? What store was that? It had to be a comic book store, an anime store, I assume. Ardent. Yeah, never been to a con, but sold a few craft fairs and flea markets. Yeah, they're polar opposites, man. Comic book shows are for guys. 90%. Like 90% of the traffic is all guys or their sons. You know, like maybe the son's into it and the dad's just coming along. But the women there, 9 times, first off, there's only about 10% of the room is women, and most of those women are just tolerating being there. Or they have the baby and they're just getting out of the house because they've been stuck in the house with their baby all week, and they just want to get some, they just want to go anywhere. Ardent, LOL, doing better than me. Seems like everything I learn, I have to relearn later. Dead Souls. It was like an anime video game store type thing. Weird. People are weird with the anime. It's the influence of Japan, I guess. I get weird with it. I get it. Some of the cartoon images are, I mean, they're kind of hot, I guess. But they're cartoons, so like, they're only so hot, right? Like it's, I don't know. If you're getting hot and bothered over anime, you should maybe pull back. Maybe just pull back. Pull back, reevaluate things. Maybe talk to someone. Talk to a real girl. Dead Souls. I'm turning 18 soon, and I am so nervous. Oh, there's nothing there to be nervous about. You'll be an adult and completely responsible for your life. Good luck. No, the key thing is, here, let me give you some advice. So when I turned 18, what did I do? I graduated high school, and it dawned on me high school was a complete waste of time. And I was sort of dumbstruck at that. But I didn't get much smarter. I thought, oh, well, I'll go to college. Then they'll tell me things. They'll tell me things I need to learn. And then I went to college, and after 4 years of that, I realized I wasted a lot of money and time there too. So, and all the people who were moving upwards in life had either dropped out of college or high school and started doing stuff. They just started doing things. And I was like, why am I not doing anything? Like, I thought the system would kind of take care of you. Like, if you did well in high school, then you would get into a good college, and then they would give you a good job. That's what I was told, right? Nah, it doesn't work that way. The reality of life is, when you're that young, but you're an adult, you have all this anxiousness about doing adult things and how important they are, right? But they're not that important. When you hit 30, you realize, this is stupid. Everybody's effing this up. I'm not the only one effing up. You think you're the only one effing up. No, everybody's effing everything up. And there are some people, they are successful, but a lot of times it's because, like, for instance, I knew a guy in my college. He was in my TV directing class, and he totally effed it up for everybody. I friggin' remember this. And because it was a group project, like everybody had to direct, and then the rest of the class would be your crew. So we got a group grade based on who was the director. And this guy effed up our grade, and we were so pissed at him. And I couldn't figure out why, because I had heard he was rich. And, well, it turned out it didn't matter how he graduated college. He just had to graduate because he went right into a multi-million-dollar company where his dad worked, and he just worked for him, and he made a ridiculous sum of money. And then I graduated college, and me and my friend were pitching him a show. And I thought, here we are, pitching the dumbest man I've ever met. I shouldn't say dumb, he was just a jerk. And we were pitching him a show, and he effed it up, in my view. And it didn't work out, obviously. I didn't get any money, obviously. And, you just realized, that sucked. And I got a million examples like that. And I was so anxious to just make it, I would put everything else to the side. Don't do that. There are people who are wise that tell you things, you should listen to them. That's why you have to read the classics, right? That's why you have to read the wisdom of the ages, because you read that and at first you go, that's probably not totally true. And then you get older and you go, oh, that was totally true. Why didn't I listen to that? You should listen to the wise words. So listen to my wise words. Calm down. Calm the F down. And just come up with a battle plan. You're young. Whatever you choose to do, just, take it a step at a time. Go forth. You think you have to do it in a week or a month or a year. You don't. You really don't. There are people who, they didn't find their career until they were in their 40s. And then finally they find their career and they started there and they're happy as clams. So what you want to do is find something you love to do and do it, and hopefully you make money at it. And that's what I did. And it took me a while to find within writing what I really wanted to do. So, Dead Souls. If I do go to college, it will probably be to Marietta College or Ohio University, but I probably won't go because I don't see the point. Plus, I don't feel like the time there is worth my money. It's probably not. It depends on what you want to do. Like, if you just want to make good money, go into the trades, right? Everybody needs a trade. Oh my God, the trades are exploding now. Like, if you could fix a car, or you could fix an air conditioning unit. Like, I had to get my door fixed here and a couple other things. Oh my God, I had to call so many guys before I finally got a guy who could come over here. And, he was a pretty good guy and fixed my door, and I had to order all the parts separately, and that cost a fortune. And I watched him fix the door, and halfway through it, I went, I could have fixed this door. The instructions came with it and everything. And I just thought, why didn't I fix this? So next time, Arden's saying, do a trade. If you want to make money, do a trade. Like, if you want to do something else, like if you want to be a lawyer, or you want to be a doctor, you have to go to college. But even that, you have to be have to be smart enough not only to graduate college, but to understand that the woke BS they're pushing at colleges, you have to ignore. Or you have to, know to say something and then dance around it. So, Arden, I have a woodworking certificate, but if I had it back, I have a woodworking certificate, but if I had it back, I'd absolutely do heavy equipment operation. So, there's that. Now, you might not like to do that. Like, if I had to do it all again, maybe I'd do something like that, do a trade just to make money. Because I didn't realize how little these guys work. I mean, you would have thought, they work whenever the F they want to. You literally could work once a week and probably be okay. Because these guys make a ridiculous amount of money. Dead Souls. I thought about being a hockey coach or an animal vet, but I think you have to be in college for both of those. Well, definitely for animal vet, because that's sort of a pre-med thing. For a hockey coach, it's a little different. If you have a college degree, it's going to be easier and you're probably going to make more money and they'll probably treat you more seriously. If you don't have a degree, it's going to be a lot harder. You could maybe make your way by coaching like kids and moving up the ladder that way, but at some point you might hit a wall. But there are other jobs in hockey hierarchy. There are guys who just work in the hockey organizations. Certainly if you're a player, if you play in the minor leagues and play in college leagues and maybe you go pro, then yeah, coaching is definitely in the mix. But there are plenty of guys who I know who were really into sports, and they got into communications to cover sports. They couldn't really play it, but they loved it. Or they got into the organization. So they are the guys who, they drive the players around, or they work in the office, or whatever. But you may need a degree for that too now if you want to get into the pros. Yeah. So, but, and you may try to do that and realize, God, I hate this. This isn't what I expected. Like, a lot of people want to do stuff. They don't understand what it is until they try it, and then they get into it and realize, I don't want to do this. And that's okay too. You could always change your mind, which is why it's also good, if you can. Is that a dog behind me? Yes, this is Little Joan. Right, Little Joan? Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc was very sleepy because Joan had some of the food at the Super Bowl thing, which I left right at the beginning before the game started. God, I can't watch TV anymore. Ugh, the coverage on TV is so awful now. Like, I could kind of tolerate it before. Now it's like 10 minutes in, I'm like, oh, I've had enough of this. It's so awful. It's just so vapid and terrible. Talking about things over and over again. Ugh. I don't have anything against Taylor Swift or Travis Kelce or whatever, but yes, Joan is very cute. Right, Little Joan? Oh, you're such a cutie. Such a cutie. Joan needs a haircut, though. I got to get her to the groomer at some point. I think we got one more, winter blast up here. Dead Souls, I think Taylor's team is winning right now. Yeah, the Chiefs are probably going to win. Here's Holly. Hi, Holly. Hey, Tony. Long time no see. LOL. I mentioned you earlier about the sweet tea. Thank you so much for that. That was so nice of you. And I was saying how nice the show was. So wow, I didn't think we'd have this many people in the chat. So look at us. We're moving along. What else I have going on this week? That was about it. I did an event at one of the senior centers. Thank God. I need that money. I'm waiting on a check for that. I got nothing going on Valentine's Day. Well, either way. And then next weekend, nothing, man. I couldn't get anything for this weekend. Next weekend, I should say. So nothing going on. But I got a couple other things. Just picked up a brewery. I'm doing the Tyndall Brewery on the 28th. I might, cross my fingers, I might have another gig on the 24th. I'm saving the date. I got to call them back probably on Thursday. So we'll see. Holly M, now I know. No sweet tea. No worries. I almost drank it because I felt bad, but I can't drink sweet tea anymore. I used to drink Snapple, which, if you've ever drank Snapple, it's like iced tea candy. There's so much sugar in it. And then I think they changed the formula. It actually got sweeter to me. But I stopped putting sugar in my tea. I stopped drinking Snapple or anything with sugar in it. And I haven't gone back. And now when I drink it, I just go, oh, I can't drink this. Oh, it's so bad. Oh my God, everybody's showing up. Dead Souls, do you make money off YouTube, or do you have a full-time, part-time job besides YouTube? I make a little bit of money on YouTube. Right now I'm making about, you have to make at least $100 to get paid in a given month. I make roughly about $30 a month, but every couple of months somebody shoots me extra money, and then it usually pushes me over the top. So a few weeks ago, I forget who gave me the money, but he gave me $100 so I could buy ISOM 1.2 and Alpha Core and review it, which I did, and so that pushed me over the top. And I spent most of that money. Part of that YouTube gets, and then the rest of it I get, but I spent almost all of it on the comics. But there was other money in the savings, so from the ads. but my subs are going up, so I'm probably more like 35 a month, I guess. So it's slowly ticking up. But I do have, besides selling my books, I do freelance work. So I'm hoping that I got some freelance work right on the bubble. So I'm hoping my client's gonna greenlight a script this week, and then I'm gonna work on this script and finish a screenplay. Probably my goal would be to finish by the end of the month, since I have all this time, and I probably will. How long will it take me if I do 7 pages a day? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 10. So take me about 2 weeks. That's usually good for me for a screenplay. So yeah, and it's a sequel, so I already know the characters and stuff. I think it'll be good. He just finished. The working title is called The Neighbors. You could look it up on the IMDb if you want to search for my name. He actually put it on the IMDb. It's in post-production now, but I think he's going to change the title. So I pitched him a bunch of new titles. Oh man, lots of chats tonight. JEC is here. Hi. Wow, we got 4 in the chat. This is picking up. Ardent, what's the difference between iced tea and sweet tea? Sweet tea has tons of sugar in it. It's actually brewed with sugar in it. So what they do is, like when you make the hot tea and brew it, you pour sugar in it while it's brewing. That's like a southern thing. Down south, they drink sweet tea. And then there's regular iced tea, sometimes has sugar and lemon in it, but it's not supposed to have a lot. But sweet tea has a lot. Like it literally is just, it's like candy. To me anyway. Ardent, hello, JC, I'm the same way with sugar. Yeah, I can't drink it now. I stopped drinking it. I really stopped eating a lot of it unless it's in cake. I have to eat cake. I love cake. But I don't buy cake anymore. If I'm out somewhere and someone's got cake, I'll be like, can I have some of that cake? Ardent, you need to pick a fight with somebody bigger than you to get the controversy views. I bet you could kick Woody Allen's ass. Well, he's an old man, so I'm sure that is true. I don't want to do that because I hate drama farming. In fact, I've kind of been railing against it due to the big fight in indie comics between Eric July and half of the internet, but mostly Ethan Van Sciver. I've actually stopped following Ethan Van Sciver because I'm so sick of the drama. But I do think Eric July is trying to not do the drama anymore, and it's interesting to watch him. He's really seems to be trying hard not to get pulled back into the drama because they are really battering him bad, I think. Ardent, how many hours a day do you write? Well, I write the Webcomic Factory every day, and then twice a week, or Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do a strip for Superfat. So those I do every week. Then I will work on the Pineys. If I have time to do the Pineys, I'll usually do two to 5 pages a night, depending on the scene I have in mind and where I am in the book. Right now, I'm up to about page 40 of the Pineys. I have to get to 80 at least to finish a book. I'm well on my way to getting book 15 done. Book 14 is basically done, but at some point in the towards the end of this month, I'm going to have to go into editing, but that won't take me long for book 14. That one's done. But I'll probably finish book 15. I have to finish by March, the end of March, so I can send it to the copyright office and get the copyright back before July, because that one comes out in July. And then I have to start working on book 16 of the Pineys, which will come out in October. And that one, I'm not sure what I'm doing yet, but I may do short stories again, because I really enjoyed the short stories, and it's a good seller to do the short stories, because it sort of breaks up the novella stuff. It gives people a different kind of feel for the characters, and I can do little focused stories on some of the side characters and some of the smaller stories that don't really rate an entire novel. But I also have an idea for a really big Pineys book, or big Piney story, I should say, that is at least as big as 15, but I may save it for next year. And then sort of some of the stuff that's in 15 is going to foreshadow what happens in this story, which probably might be, I don't know, might be 17 or 18. That one's going to be, I've been foreshadowing that story for a while, so it's going to be fun. Oh man, I got to catch up with my chats. Dead Souls. I still don't have a job, and I'm scared to get one because I'm worried I won't like it as soon as I begin it. Oh, you won't like it. No. You will not like it. No one likes their job. I don't have a job. This is the distinction, as Chris Rock said in his stand-up. You either have a job or you have a career, right? See, you're going to get a job because you're young and you're 18 and you have to get a job. And people can have jobs and do very well for themselves. And the idea behind a job is to do as little as possible to get the most money. And everybody hates those jobs. And I've had jobs. I might have to get a job next year just to make ends meet. I don't know. Just do it. And then, but if you want a career, that's different. Career is like if you're a writer, if you can make money on your career, you love it. Like, I'm poor, but I love making money on my books. So if I can do it full time, and I almost can, I just need to get my sales up. If I could get my sales to, say, like 500 books a month, I'd be gold. I'd be absolute gold. I wouldn't even need the YouTube. I'd be loving life. If I could get those kind of numbers, man, I wouldn't have to do shows as much. That's for sure. So that's the goal of my career. And I don't sell anywhere near that much, but, over a period of time I can, but not in a month. In a month I'll sell, like, I don't know. I think the best month I had just on Amazon, I did like $120, which was pretty good. But if I could get that up to, say, $500 a month, that's like passive income. I didn't even have to worry. That's not the books I sell at shows. Like, I make more money at the books at shows. Like, if I go to a show and sell, like, 50, 60 books every time I go, well, I'll be doing all right. But, it's hard. It's, my books sell really well in South Jersey, but a lot of people in South Jersey already have my books. So, like, I went to the show today, and I was selling somebody, and she was like, I have books 1 to 5. And I was like, oh, okay, that's great. Well, I've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. She's like, well, I'm still on 5, but I'll let you know when I'm done. So that's good. But every new sale for me is a potential 13 book sales because I got 13 books. And that's kind of the way it works. So you have to decide if you want a job or a career. You're probably going to need a job. You're 18. You need some experience so you could eventually move into a career. So, like, if you want to be an animal vet, a good job for you would be at PetSmart, right? And then maybe you can finagle your way into being an assistant for the vets. And you'll clean out cages and do horrible things, but you'll be able to learn what it's like to work with the animals and really get a feel for if you like to do it. Or you may get scratched by a dog or something and say, this sucks. By the way, there's a horrible story out now. This guy was at a party, and he played with a bunch of dogs. I swear to God, this is a true story. He played with a bunch of dogs. One of the dogs apparently had some kind of weird fungal infection that he got, right? And because he got this fungal infection, it went into his body and had to amputate his arms and legs and part of his nose. I swear to you, this is a true story. It was the most horrifying picture I've ever seen. And it was because he played with dogs. And I thought, God hates this man. Absolutely hates him. But I hope he's okay. I mean, at least there's prosthetics and he could, at least he didn't die. He almost died. But God, that is so horrible. Ardent. Yeah, I don't like drama unless I'm causing it. Ha! JC. He's not good at dealing with the drama. There are literally like 6 shows that cover Eric as a lolcow, he says anything, they jump on him. Yeah, he seems to be trying to back away from it, but he kind of can't help himself because he kind of, I mean, that's kind of why the Rippaverse or Young Ripper or whatever his podcast is has hits. That's why he has like over 100,000 fans or whatever, subs or whatever. But yeah, it's you know, he's trying to transition to something else. That's good, but it's tough because people who want drama in the stream, they have high expectations of you, and if you can't meet those expectations, they get bored and they just stop subbing. Holly M, I need audio, book audio for 2. You cannot. I've tried to start it like 3 times now. I've actually sat down and went, oh, I'm going to start and then I go, oh, I've got all these other things to do. I know. Maybe this Christmas. I almost did it last Christmas because I usually have a lot of time, but last Christmas was just crazy hectic and I couldn't do it. So I'm not sure when I'll get around to that. So I may be scrambling. So we'll see. But yes, I would love to do 2 and 3 and 4. Dead Souls. I'm writing a story and I'm already on chapter 11. Oh, congratulations. Published with Amazon. It's pretty good right now. I say it's very easy. It's all about promoting. Ardent. Yeah, I'm training for a job, but I'm making a career of the online stuff and a few other things. Yep, that's the way it goes. Dead Souls. A lot of people say they don't like my story because it's in the first person. I don't know who you're showing it to. In the first person. I mean, you know, it's hard to say. Some stories are great in first person, like film noir detective stuff. That's classic first person stuff. But maybe other people will like it. It's kind of hard to gauge if you show stories to your friends, which is what I kind of don't really do anymore. Sometimes I'll show it to people and let them give me feedback, but you got to take it with a grain of salt. They're your friends or you know them. Unless you're going to show it to a professional and pay money to get a real feedback. And you can pay me, but my feedback, I'll warn you ahead of time, my feedback is harsh. I'll tell you, over the years, I've had about 12 students pay me to teach them how to write, and most of them quit writing. They literally quit writing because I demoralize them too much. Because I tell them the truth. I tell them, I mean, I'm not a jerk about it. I don't say, you suck, and you shouldn't write, go kill yourself. I don't say that. I absolutely would never say that. But I do say, well, see, the reason this doesn't work, because unfortunately, what a lot of people want when they take writing lessons is they don't really want feedback. What they want is for you to go, oh, you're great. That's what a lot of my clients do when they hire me to write and they have something written already. What they really want is not for me to fix their precious script. They want me to go, oh, this script is perfect the way it is. And then when I don't do that, or I say, well, you got a lot of problems here. Well, here's what we could do. They go, what? I thought I was perfect. Ardent at Dead Souls. The Dresden Files is in the first person. Amazing. Dead Souls. I saw that on Twitter X. JC. He got 500K followers. Been Glenn Beck's token black guy. I don't know if that's true. I mean, I didn't follow him because he was Glenn Beck's token black guy. I followed him because he was talking about comics and he was talking about woke idiots. So I think there's an audience for that. Chemical Z is here. Holy moly, it's been a few years. Oops. I clicked the wrong thing. Hold on. I'm trying to catch up to my stream here. Oh, man. Where did I go? Holy moly, it's been a few years, this is Chemical Z, but I found your channel again through accident. I doubt you remember me, though. How's it been, though? It's been good, Chemical Z. I think I remember your name in the chat before. Welcome. You picked a good day. Man, everybody's coming in. JC, some people who are dummies say never write stuff in the first person. There's literally a million great books in the first person. Most books are written in the first person. You know, it can go either way. People's tastes are different. Some people love it, love things that you do, and some people hate them. Oh my God, I'm having such a problem here. Sorry. Um, Stop clicking too many things. Let me take my hand away from the mouse. Yeah, I mean, so for the Pineys, I don't write in the first person. I did write in the first person for the Fix. And I have a book called Fix in Overtime, and I have a comic series based on the same character. And the Fix is a detective, but he is like a slacker detective, and he has a particular sort of flow of speech, just like, Marlowe does in the classic film noir. But he's not a film noir guy. He's a slacker. He's like a character from Clerks. The Fix is like the Clerks meets X-Files, and so, and that's Fix's. His name is Fix. His nickname is Fix. Fix's way of speaking has a certain flow to it, and he is a terrible detective. He's the world's worst detective. Because the pitch of the series is the most powerful substance in the universe and the world's worst detective. So he has this jar of stuff that he uses to temporarily grant him clairvoyance to solve mysteries, but it's like a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. He understands who committed the murder or whatever, but then he has to go back and prove it, but he's a terrible detective. So, and then the powers also, the stuff also gives him wild, uncontrollable side effects that's different every time. So, Fix has a certain way of talking because his character arc is that he's more of a con artist than he is a detective. And that's fun to play with. But if you don't have a character like that, being first person, if it's just going to be generic, you might as well go with omnipresent, I would say. But, if you have a good way, good flow with the character, I think it can totally work. JEC. Maybe you could record a chapter a day and put up the videos for members only on your channel. That is an interesting thought, JEC, because then I would be making money. I might very well do that. I will consider that. That's interesting. That's an interesting concept. That might be better than, I don't know. I wonder if that would conflict with Amazon's rules. I don't know. It's also hard to do because I do all the characters' voices, and sometimes I need to edit because, like, for instance, if you've read the Pineys, Hemingway's mother is Aunt Christie. Well, she's not Aunt Christie to him, but her name's Christie. And Christie is a witch, but she died. But witches never die. So she's sort of undead, and she's in the grave in the family plot on the farm. But she refuses to stay in her grave, and she's always being dug up or comes out or whatever. And so to do Aunt Christie's voice really hurts my throat. So I'm doing like, I can't even do it now because I'm kind of hoarse from the weekend. I've been talking all weekend. But it's kind of like an evil witch voice and cackling. And after I do just like a couple of lines of Aunt Christie, I have to stop and like drink water or something. So I have to edit that. So I don't know if I could even do it, come to think of it. I mean, maybe I'll do like a short story. Maybe I'll do a special. That would be nice. Something like that. Maybe I'll do one of short stories from book 10. Ardent. Yeah, I stopped showing my friends my work unless I absolutely trusted them. Yeah, they're trying to be nice to you too, so it's tough. It's tough unless they're kind of in the biz or kind of writing and editing themselves. Dead Souls. I wrote one story about this detective whose son went missing, and suddenly this serial killer came around. It takes place during Christmas. And all I'll say is a lot of the kills are Christmas related. Okay. Chemical Z. Hell yeah, man. Aurelius is here. Hello, Aurelius. Good evening. Chemical Z. Thanks, Arden. Ardent, you skipped my message about the audiobooks. I did? Sorry. They're coming fast and furious now. I'm sorry. Tweet it again. LOL. Is that a jar of moonshine? You mean this? No, this is iced tea. If you're talking about the jar behind me, it's actually full of Jersey Devil fixins, which actually is very old. Is that the one you're looking at, I bet? Yeah. Jersey Devil fixins I bought. God, that's probably 20 years old. I'm a little worried it'll just explode one day. I should probably throw it away. But I buy everything Jersey Devil. And there was this place called the Pinecrest Motel. It's now a pizza parlor. It's called Pinecrest Pizza. I think the hotel's still there, though. I guess they moved the office. Anyhow, the guy who ran it made Jersey Devil fixins, which I guess you were supposed to mix with chili or something. And I guess I should have used it instead of just buying the jar. But I never used it. And it's just sitting in that jar there because it has Jersey Devil stuff on it. I should probably empty it out. But I wonder if it would explode if I opened it up in the sink. I really hope it just doesn't explode one night. That would be bad. Chemical Z, damn, this makes me want to start writing. I wrote some stuff in 2019 and it was abominable hot garbage, like I think you'd have a heart attack if you read it. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. Although, it sounds like you could write for the MCU. Ardent, LOL, I have a stack of old writings I'll go back to one day. JC, could always delete it afterwards. Ardent, yeah, one of my buddies got me to record some of his work and one of the characters did my throat in. Yeah, like Aunt Christie is tough to do. And then some of the devils are tough. And I got a lot of witches in book 2. That's another thing. And Aunt Christie is pretty prominent in book 2, so she'd definitely be in it. And then there's some other witches. I'd have to do a lot of women's voices. And my women's voices are pretty all similar. Like there's Aunt Christie and Shelley. They're pretty different. But then in book 2, I introduced Toback, Professor Toback, and she would probably, I could probably do her voice very distinctly, but then also Annie, the head witch, is introduced in that too. So, yeah. Chemical Z, you're good at talking, man, I gotta tell you. I am, thank you. I have a good radio voice. Yeah, I'm trained. In college, they train you to do radio. So, one of the things, it's like that bit on Howard Stern's Private Parts. When you pronounce W, you have to say W. WNBC, not W. You can't say W. WNBC? No. It's WNBC. So, yeah. So I did radio in college. I was on the college station, which played all the 80s college stuff, which I actually hated. I know everybody loves that 80s college stuff. I hate it all. Most of it. And then we had a classic rock station. I was also on that. That was the AM station. And I loved all that music. But that station only broadcast on campus. And the other station was an actual real radio station, which I bumped into the controls one night and knocked off the air. But I got it back on. That was the one thing I knew how to do. You had to monitor the signals and whatnot, while you were in there. But I got lazy and bumped into there was a control board with a bunch of buttons, and I kind of brushed against it with my shoulder, and I saw all the dials go, and just the whole station just died, and I was like, uh-oh. I realized I'd run into these buttons. And then I called the manager. I think I knocked the station off. He's just, push these buttons, hurry up. And I pushed them, and then I was playing, I used to do a show called The Double Feature. And the double feature was you had to play a brand new album from beginning to end. But the record companies didn't want you to play the album uninterrupted because that way everybody would record it, right? So this is we're talking about the era of cassette tapes, right? This is the cassette tape era. So you'd be home listening to the double feature with your host, Tony D, and my sidekick back then was Mr. Buddha. And Mr. Buddha was a glass I got from Benihana's. It was a Buddha-shaped drink glass that I kept with me, and I brought him to the station and called him Mr. Buddha, and then all he would say is Buddha, 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 and there was like a drink slot behind him, and I would say Buddha, Buddha, Buddha into the drink slot, so it would echo and it would sound sort of echoey, and so the idea was I was supposed to play the album, but I was supposed to say stuff in between the songs and into the songs so people wouldn't have a clean copy of the album. So the record companies, so you would still have a reason to go out and buy it. But that just made everybody who was recording the album mad at me because they wanted a clean copy and they wanted me to just play the damn album without saying anything. So I would get angry calls at every show, like, stop talking, man, I'm trying to record this. And because they didn't want to pay for it. So that was records back in the 80s. See, we had records and we had cassette tapes. Yeah. Well, I still have, you can't see it. I don't think you can see it, but I still have my boombox back there, which has cassette and CD. So, all right, let's get into the numbers. Wow, that was the biggest wind-up. That was a 45-minute wind-up. All right, we're getting into the numbers, and let me tell you something. This has been a devastating weekend for Hollywood. The biggest movie this weekend, again, was Argylle. Now, Argylle is essentially flopped. This movie is DOA. It's a dead movie walking. It opened last week, I think, to 18 million, and it only did 6.5 million, which is a drop of 63%. So if it drops more than 50%, this is not good. It's not good. Wouldn't matter anyway, even if it was 50%. Because this movie cost $200 million, and it's only made 60, and it ain't going to make much more. This isn't even going to make its budget back. I don't even think this will crack 100 million at the rate it's going. Nah, might crack 80, and that's it. That's all she wrote, man. This is a flop. And I feel bad for Sam Rockwell because I really want that guy to have a hit movie, but damn, man, this is just brutal. It's just brutal. That is brutal numbers. So that is a flop. There's no way around it. I kind of was rooting for the movie, but I hear it's just awful. Everybody's panning it. I haven't heard one good review of it yet. So, ouch. Number 2 is Lisa Frankenstein, premiering at 3.8 million, which isn't great. That is very low number. I'm kind of shocked it got such big distribution, but it's not the worst concept I've ever heard of either. Even though I think it's kind of feminist Frankenstein, but it's Diablo Cody. So if you know anything about Diablo Cody, she wrote Jennifer's Body, which was that Megan Fox film where she plays a cheerleader. I think she gets possessed and starts murdering people. According to this, or according to what I read, Lisa Frankenstein takes place in the same universe. So I guess they're going for a Diablo Cody universe now, because Hollywood's utterly obsessed with various universes. Which, if you had said back in the 80s they were going to start doing that, I would have been like, oh, that's so cool. The problem is, I don't think Diablo Cody is the person to create universes. She just doesn't have the chops for it, in my view. This isn't the worst idea I've ever seen, though, except that it's probably super feminist, is my guess. The premise is, oh, Chemical Z is out. All right, peace out. But I'll be back as soon, unless I forget your last name again. In that case, I'll be back in 3 years. Well, sub to my channel, Chemical Z. Sub to it. I know you won't get the updates because YouTube sucks, but sub to the channel. Ardent. Yeah, the MCU was a good idea. The DCU, not so much. The DCU could have worked. All they had to do was follow the blueprint the MCU had laid down. That's it. That's all they had to do. Ardent. DiGerolamo. You spelled my name right, Ardent. Very good. All they had to do was follow the blueprint. It's very simple. Do a movie about Superman. End it with, instead of Nick Fury, it could have been Maxwell Lord. Like, they could have used Maxwell Lord to be the Nick Fury of the DC universe, because he sort of was in one of the versions of the Justice League, right? Maxwell Lord shows up and says, Superman, we have a project we're putting together called the Justice League of America. And then you do Batman, you do the same thing. Then you do Wonder Woman, you do the same thing. And you do all the other characters that you want to put in the Justice League. And the other ones should have been, I guess, Green Lantern and Aquaman. I mean, Jason Momoa, I guess. They've kind of effed it all up now, but it did. The first one did okay, and the second one actually didn't do too bad. So if they could just stick to a script and not keep reshooting everything and going to focus groups. LOL, I suffered to get good at spelling. Of course it doesn't matter now. Thanks, Mom. I could have been playing Tetris. That's a shame. All those years wasted. Anyhow, getting back to Lisa Frankenstein, it takes place in the 80s. Very trendy. And it's about a girl who builds herself a girlfriend. So she's doing the Frankenstein, she builds herself a boyfriend, which is funny. I mean, you could make a good satire parody Frankenstein movie out of that. Here's the problem. The problem is Hollywood seems to have already turned this into a trend. This is at least the third feminist Frankenstein movie. So the first one was called, I think it's called A Black Girl and Her Monster, which is this low-budget film. It's about a girl in the hood who rebuilds her. I think her brother's killed in a cross shootout or something with drug dealers, and he's the Frankenstein. The second one, of course, is Poor Things, starring Emma Stone. That is feminist Frankenstein. That one's really off the charts from what I've seen of it. This one seems more like a regular movie that could work. But I just don't trust Diablo Cody in the current state of Hollywood to not turn this into a feminist screed against men and whatever. So, but it takes place in the 80s. Maybe it's okay. I, of course, did my own female version of Frankenstein called Frankengine. This is in the Superfrat comic. If you'd like to go read that, check out superfrat.com. There's a list of the milestones of the various stories, and Frankengine is one of them. One of the characters builds, or attempts to build, the perfect girlfriend. So, yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to see it. I mean, I know. But I definitely don't want to pay for it. So, I'm not going to the movie theater for it. So, if it shows up on streaming and it doesn't get terrible reviews, I might actually watch that. Give it a chance. Diablo Cody is like, maybe she got better. She's kind of like, I think it's, her ideas aren't too awful. It's just her execution. Like Jennifer's Body didn't sound like a bad idea. I mean, hot Megan Fox as a cheerleader, murdering people. I could kind of get into that, but it didn't look too good. JC, I saw a movie with that plot. Can't remember what it's called. It just got some girl's name as a title. Girl's name as a title. Oh, and then in the 80s, I'll tell you the best Frankenstein comedy movie is Weird Science. Watch that. That's a great one. Anthony Michael Hall and his friend build a hot chick using computers. And back in the 80s, like, the internet was new. The internet was like this magical thing that could do anything. And so, like, partially it's the internet and partially it's computers. And people didn't really know computers. So it was like, oh, computers could do anything. It could make this person come to life. It was crazy. JC, Frankenhooker. Oh, yeah, Frankenhooker. Sure. Yeah. I know that movie. I didn't see it, but I kind of know it. It's a cult classic. All right. Number 3 for the 5th weekend in a row, The Beekeeper. I was kind of rooting for this movie because I like Jason Statham and it's an action movie. 3.4 million. I'm not sure the budget on this thing, but it made 114 million worldwide. Did well in Australia and the UK. Okay. I don't know if that's money. I don't think so. I mean, it's kind of tough to tell. 114 million is probably not money. I mean, they could have made this thing for 50 mil. Maybe. Haven't seen it. It looks expensive. So, they might have made some money on that one. Number 4, dropping from 2, The Chosen. This is a TV show. Season 4, episode 1 to 3 from Fathom Events. Sorry, I'm gassing it up here. Sorry. All those wings I had. JC, the movie I'm thinking of is called Dawn or something. Let's see. Dawn. I'll just type it in the IMDb. Titles. Here's a movie called Dawn. No. Don't think it's that. Finally Dawn? Before Dawn? Maybe this one? From 2022? Dawn. Always on time, great conversation, you will never make it home. A rideshare nightmare. Well, uh-oh. The sound is gone? JC, it's not the right title. I can't find it. It's going to drive me nuts. I've been there. Been there. All right, going back to the numbers. Are you guys hearing me now? Or did everything go? Oh, it looks like my signal's getting wonky. Aren't it? Nope, was on my end. Oh, okay, good. Well, not good, but you know what I mean. All right. So, The Chosen season 4, 1 to 3. This is a religious thing they're showing on Fathom Events. It did 3.1 million, which in this market isn't too shabby. This is the second week. It dropped less than 50%. I mean, this thing has legs for the audience it has. The religious people, and this show costs nothing, I'm guessing. It's a Jesus show. Again, I don't know what people are going to see other than stories in the Bible. It's not going to be like, this week on The Chosen, can Jesus solve the mystery in time? I don't think it's going to be that. But it's making money. These Fathom Events thing, I think that's going to be the avenue to the religious people getting back into the movie section. It's through Fathom Events, and there's a few random ass movies that are getting distribution through that. Wonka is number 5, dropping from 4, finally dropping after its 9th week. It's still in the top 5 though. 3.1 million. This movie definitely benefited from having virtually no competition. 587 million worldwide. This is definitely money. They're definitely going to make a sequel, I guess. So, I guess people are liking it, or I guess it just is the best of a really bad lot. Right behind it, Migration, same deal. $3 million. $235 million worldwide. Probably money, unless this thing, I mean, it's animated. It could cost 200 million, but it probably doesn't. Number 7, Anyone But You. Another movie that cost this movie definitely cost nothing. I forget what this cost. Yeah, 25 million. And it made 170 million worldwide. This is the movie Disney should be making to get back on its feet. These movies, you make 10 of these instead of making the Marvels, and you got it. Okay, so imagine instead of making the Marvels, they made 10 of these movies. Not the same movie, but 10 movies like this, right? 25 million makes 170 million, right? So what's that in terms of profit? Well, figure 25 million to make it, 25 million to advertise it. That's 50 million. That's 120 million dollars profit each movie. 10 movies like that, there's your $1 billion. There's a $1.2 billion, 10 movies. And one of those movies might be a breakout hit. Might make $500,000 by itself, or $500 million. And one of those movies will be popular enough, probably 2 or 3 will be popular enough you can make a sequel. And again, you make movies cheap. I mean, 25 million is probably too much money for this movie. They made Godzilla -1 for $15 million. This movie doesn't have any effects in it, I guarantee you. It's just Glenn Powell and hot, what's her name? Sydney Sweeney running around. Their banter is, I mean, I watched the trailer. It's not bad. Their banter's good. They got good chemistry. I think I would watch this movie. I mean, I'd have to be forced to. I was dating some girl who wanted to see it, but I think I would tolerate it. I don't think I'd pick it, but I'd be like, all right. Aurelius. I saw the first 2 episodes of The Chosen. It kind of deals with the lives of the apostles, not just Jesus. Didn't drive too much into it because, to be honest, Jesus looked too Arabic. Inaccurate. Interesting. What was the quality like, I would ask you? Was it a quality, were they acting right? Were the sets nice, or was it like a sound stage and sort of half-ass actors, would be my question. I gotta imagine they don't spend a ton of money on that show. Probably cost nothing. But this is what Disney should be doing. It should be cranking out 10 movies like this at least in a year. And then you got $1.2 billion in profit, and then you can blow $200 million on The Marvels if you were going to be super woke. Stupid. Then you don't care. Then you need something to lose money so you could write it off. JC, it was called May 2002. Jesus. Wow, that was really driving you nuts. All right, let's take a look at May. Is it even going to come up here? Let's see. There it is, May 2002. Okay. A socially awkward veterinary assistant with a lazy eye and an obsession with perfection descends into depravity after developing a crush on a boy with perfect hands. Huh. That is a weird write-up for a Frankenstein movie, but I'll take your word for it. Where the hell is it now? There it is. Yeah, so, in terms of money, this is the kind of movie Disney should be doing. All the studios should be doing 10 movies like this in a year. That's where you spend $250 million. And then you do a couple of big budget things, sure. And if one of those hits, great. You got too much money, that's a good problem to have. Having too much money and having to pay taxes, that's the best problem in the world to have. Having no money and paying a lot of taxes, well, that's a real problem. Now, Disney has more write-offs than... They're not going to... If you want to talk a studio who's not going to pay any taxes this year, Disney is not going to pay a damn dime. They got to be bleeding money. They've got write-offs that beat the band. If they pay 10 cents in taxes, I'd be shocked. Aurelius, regarding The Chosen, seemed okay, shot on location, not actual Judea, but real sets. Costumes were good, like the Roman province aspect, that death with life at the time, etc. I think the show's solid. Oh, okay, interesting. JC, talking about May, she cuts up her friends and just keeps the parts of them she likes and sews them together to make her perfect friend. Oh, weird. And so it comes back to life, I guess. Right, Joan? You all right? I hear sneezing back here. Interesting. Yeah, so that's what movie companies normally did. You know, they'd make they put a bunch of movies like Anyone But You in production, and they do okay. And even in this environment, you could do okay with a movie like Anyone But You. It's a love story. It's, and then, a couple of them are love stories like that. A couple of them are just, crime stories with some mild action. A couple of them are dramas. A couple of them are comedies. You mix it up. You got 10 movies like that out there. They're going to make money because they're so cheap to make. I mean, comparatively. When you're talking $25 million, that's a cheap movie in the studio level. That is cheap. But you can do it. It's not rocket science to budget a movie and stick to the budget if you have a strong script. But the key is the script. If you have a crap script, it doesn't matter what you shoot. You can have all the production in the world. If the script is terrible, the movie won't make $25 million. Then you got a real problem on your hands. But the thing is, Hollywood is so good at promoting things. $25 million is not a lot of money to make back. You can make $25 million on a stinker. And name a bunch of stinkers. They probably made at least $25 million if they were in the pipeline to, and had the right advertising. I mean, look, Lisa Frankenstein doesn't look like it's going to do very well, but it'll probably make $25 million. I mean, I don't think Lisa Frankenstein cost a lot of money. I think it'll probably be around $25 million at most, maybe 30 if they spent some real money. I don't think so. Maybe less. That'll make its money back, at least the production end. So it's not a big risk. Don't risk a lot of money, Hollywood. If you're going to risk a lot of money, it has to have every star in the known universe in it, a big name director, a script that's super solid, probably based on a book that everybody liked, something will work. Not something you're gonna, we're gonna have a message for modern audiences. No, that's not gonna work. Oh, we hired a bunch of woke idiots to do the movie who never made a movie before because they need a voice. No, they don't. They don't need a voice. They don't have a voice. And that's the problem. They can't write. You can't give them that money. Idiots, stop giving them money. Stop it. See, Joan is very upset now. You've upset Joan. Come here, Joan. Sorry, Joan. All right. Continuing. Mean Girls. Ugh, this drops from 6 to 8, dropping like a rock. It's in its 5th week, 1.9 million. Probably shouldn't have made that much. Movie like this been right off the list if anything decent was out. So there's that. Then Dune. I guess they put Dune back in theaters to make some money. 1.6 million. Not a bad idea since Dune 2 is coming out soon. It's a good thought. Good for you. So it made 1.6 million. That ain't bad. That's something. Let's see what this thing made. Yeah, worldwide 392. It was a pretty expensive movie, so that might be a little close. Do we have a budget on this? Production budget, 165 million. Oof. So it's 330? Yeah, 330 million. So that's money. Yeah, that's money. Okay. And then you made a little money on top of that. That's what they should have been doing. They should have re-released Top Gun when Top Gun Maverick came out. I think they did couple select theaters, but not many. Should have been a big wide release. That's a double fiction I'd go see. Watch Top Gun and then watch Top Gun Maverick right after. Why not? That's a fun day if you like Top Gun. I mean, the first one's okay. It's very 80s. Highway to the danger zone. Number 10, American Fiction. Dropping from 8. It's in its 9th week? Oh, right, because it started in the art house places. This probably gets a big push during Oscar season. JC, it came out during lockdowns. Dune did? I think you're referring to? That's pretty good then for lockdowns. American Fiction, though, if that's on Amazon, I wonder if it'll be on Amazon for free. Aurelius, I think 2024 will see a lot of smaller, less all-ambitious productions, more variety, and some surprise hits. A lot of them aren't getting it in the theaters, though. They're just going straight to streaming, which, back in the day would have been straight to video. But it's a different, the technology is different. They could just beam the damn movie right to the theaters in these big chains that they're choking out the distribution for their, only select movies in studios is a stupid move, even on the part of the studios. So I get it. They don't want the competition to have a hit movie, but movies need more. They just need more movies in the theaters. We need a better selection. Your movies are crap. Who cares if a couple of no names get in? It doesn't. That's not a problem you want, or that's a real problem. It's not a real problem because you could just buy those guys out. If they have a hit, you just buy them out. And who are they going to come to when they make their second movie or the sequel? You're the big studio. You have all the money. So if somebody makes another Blair Witch or whatever and it's a breakout hit, what happened? Well, they rolled right in and bought up the Blair Witch, bought the guys who made it, and they said, we'll give you a bunch of money and make a sequel, and we're going to make millions. And they did. I think they made a few sequels to that movie, and then I think the guy who made the movie got a deal. That's how it works. A movie hits, and then you shower the people who made the hit with money. You hire away all the talent, put them in other movies. That's the way it works. You don't astroturf every friggin' person just because, we need more people of color. Let's astroturf them. That'll be a hit. No, they won't. Anna DuVernay, in my view, not a hit. Not a hit. She made one halfway decent movie. I forget which one. But they keep giving her projects. Even Diablo Cody. I mean, too many projects, I say. I'll tell you who shouldn't be getting movies is Sofia Coppola. In my view, what has she done? That Bill Murray movie with Scarlett Johansson? No, I don't think that was good. There are plenty of guys who make decent movies and then they just disappear off the face of the earth because the studio doesn't care or they don't know what quality is. You got to hire people who can do this stuff, not based on you're the right color. Jordan Peele, he's sort of half and half, right? He's super talented. Finally, he's going back to a little bit of comedy. He's in the new movie. I just saw the trailer for it and did a thing for it. Chelsea Peretti's the star, who's from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and she's very funny. And it's called First Time Female Director, and it looks great. It looks like a kind of like a theater version of The Office, but it's a movie, and Jordan Peele's in it. I think he's one of the producers, and Andy Richter and a few other people, Adam Scott, a couple others, and it looks good. It looks funny. Doesn't look woke so far, although obviously that's a bit of a woke messaging, right, built in the title, but Chelsea's actually funny, so I think she could pull it off. And we need more comedies, that's for sure. And I love seeing Jordan Peele back in a comedy. That Key and Peele didn't get more comedy movies. I know their first comedy movie didn't do well. Keanu, it didn't work. I don't know, everybody I heard saw it says it's like unwatchable, but I mean, I would totally go to the theaters for a Key and Peele sketch show. Like if they just did a movie, it was all their sketches, bunch of new sketches. Yeah, I'm there. Totally sign me up for Key and Peele. 100%. They could go back to do some of their classic characters, do a bunch of new skits. That would be a great Kentucky Fried Movie kind of movie. Or they just give them another chance. Like comedy's hit or miss. Give them another movie, I say. But unfortunately, their first movie kind of bombed, and everybody's like, "Oh, we're not going to give them another comedy movie." Jordan Peele is now a serious director. I mean, some of his movies are okay, but I really want him to go back to comedy because I think that's where he belongs. But we'll see. Aurelius, kind of like the Jackass movie, but a variety show. Yeah, kind of. If you've ever seen the Kentucky Fried Movie, that's what that was. It's not a plot. It's just a bunch of sketches jammed together. There's a couple of movies like that. Hollywood tried to do them. Gosh, in the early 2000s, they tried to do one. I think it was called Movie 42 or something. Oh, it was a disaster. You need really funny guys to helm it. That's the key. And there's got to be funny people in it. Like scary movies, the Scary Movie franchise was kind of like that. It's really, there's like sketches, but it's also a plot too. Aurelius, also remind me of the movie Year One, love it or hate it. It did have that Monty Python spirit in it. I don't think I saw that. Year One. Oh wait, is that the Ringo Starr movie? With his wife and they're all cavemen? I think I did see that movie. I do like that movie. It's really stupid. It's really stupid and it's not good. But there are some funny moments in it. There are some moments that I was in tears. I was laughing so hard. A lot of the movies just boring and stupid, but man, if that's the movie you're thinking of, I think it was called Year One. Or is that a different movie? That might have been a different movie. No, Ringo Starr did this movie where he's a caveman. And everybody in the movie talks like a ridiculous gibberish, like Unga Bunga. Ardent, Jack Black and Michael Cera. Oh, okay, that's a different movie. No, the movie I'm thinking of, thank you, Ardent. The movie I'm thinking of is Ringo Starr. Oh, God, what the hell is it called? Ringo Starr doesn't have a lot of movies, so this should be easy. He made this movie with his wife. And you gotta see it if you ever get some time. It's the dumbest effing movie. Oh, where the hell is it? Hold on. Simpsons, Shining Time Station. Man, he's been in a lot of stuff. Magic Christian. No, that was earlier. Where the hell is it? Monty Python. Candy. No. Where the hell is it? It's in the 70s. Oh man. Caveman. Okay. It's the dumbest movie. I'm gonna let you know in advance. It's the dumbest movie ever made. You can see Ringo here in a scene from it. But and Ringo's like totally overacting in it. But the funniest part about this movie is they have a bunch of guys who are cavemen. I think this is the movie, and none of them speak English, and they all speak like an Unga Bunga. But there's one guy in the movie that speaks English. For some stupid reason, he speaks perfect English, and he's super sarcastic, and he just keeps calling everybody out on their stupid caveman stuff, saying, "You idiots." And there's dinosaurs in it. It makes no sense. The whole thing makes no sense. But it is funny. It makes me laugh. JC, I've seen Caveman. It's not great, LOL. But that one character just kills me. JC, Ringo Starr's best performance was as the Pope in Liz Tomania in 1975. I never saw that. Ardent, was it just called Caveman? I think I saw it on Tubi or Roku for free. Yes. Yes. I don't know. It makes me laugh. Oh boy, that was a tangent. That was a tangent, Joan. Where was I? American Fiction. I was talking about American Fiction. Okay. So this movie didn't do so well in its ninth week, but it is Oscar bait, so it might get a bump. 17 million. That is terrible, but it probably didn't cost a lot. All right, Joe, you go away. There you go. Probably didn't cost 20 million. 20 million is about what that movie like this cost. Maybe 25. So, Ardent finally convinced my movie club to watch Sunset Limited today. Oh, interesting, says Ardent. So American Fiction will probably bounce back, but since it's on Amazon, maybe it'll just be on Amazon. And that's where they're expecting to make their money from the downloads and the, getting more subscribers. Because I'm totally psyched to see it. It looks good. Number 11 is Poor Things, Feminist Frankenstein. Number 2 or 3 or 4 if you're counting. 1.1 million. This shouldn't be doing any business. It's in its 10th week. It shouldn't even be in theaters, really, but here it is, 81 million. I don't know. That can't be money. This movie looked expensive as F because they had a lot of effects in it. I don't know. A lot of makeup. It looks like they spent a ton of money. This is total Oscar bait too. Might get a bump down the road. I can't imagine people being happy seeing this movie, but JC, Lizdomania is a kind of spiritual sequel to Tommy. Oh, interesting. Same director, and it stars lead singer of The Who. It's a biopic about Franz Liszt, the first rock star as a rock opera. Interesting. Number 12 is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, still in theaters. Jeez. 8th week. 429 million. That's not too shabby. Yeah, might as well leave it in there. Warner Brothers. What else you got going? Nothing. Number 13, premiering, Out of Darkness. 1 million. That's not bad for Bleecker Street. Which movie was this? Out of Darkness. Out of Darkness. Oh, gosh. Because these guys don't spend a ton of money on their films. Yeah, I don't see I guarantee you they didn't spend more than, 10 million on their movies. They keep them pretty tight. So Bleecker Street is slowly becoming a player because I think, probably because they make their movies so cheaply. And, they're getting better, I think. A few years ago, I'd see some of the Bleecker Street stuff and just go, oh, God, who the hell wants to see that? But at least some of the concepts seem to be strong. They made ISS, the International Space Station movie. Decent plot. I mean, there's a war breaks out on Earth, and it's a war on the space station. That's a good plot. Cheaply made. So, Out of Darkness, I friggin' forget what this is about. Number 14, Night Swim. This is probably definitely money in its 6th week. It's a horror movie. Made 46 million worldwide. It's got to be money because these movies never cost much. It's a horror movie. It takes place in a built-in pool. So, half the movie's in the pool. I don't think it cost a lot, so probably money. Zone of Interest. There's no way this movie made money. It's only made 8 million. I doubt that's money. But again, this is Oscar bait. So, probably gets a bump. With numbers that low, it probably gets a bump if it wins any Oscars. I don't know. A lot of these studios, I think, are relying on the Oscars now. That's kind of a bad move because I think nobody gives an F about the Oscars now. They really don't. It's not like it was just 10 years ago. Just 10 years ago, the Oscars had some credibility. A little bit. So you're talking 2014. People were not super enamored with celebrities, but they still kind of said, all right, it won an Oscar, maybe I'll check it out. Now, a lot of people I know are just done with that. Not that the The normies that are still watching television, like a lot of my older relatives, oh yeah, they want to see Oscar movies because they're still watching TV. They are still living in the world of 1975. Um, and, they haven't gotten the memo. They'll just go to the movie and say, well, I didn't understand that. But I think a lot of people are just done. They're not going to watch the Oscars. They're not going to care who won. So, zone of interest, I don't know, man. It's only in 598 theaters anyway. The Boys in the Boat dropping to 16 from 12. This is a George Clooney directed movie. 742,000, did 50 mil. 53 worldwide. Might be money. I don't know. What did they? Yeah, they don't have a budget. Maybe it's money. I kind of on the fence about it. I mean, again, maybe Amazon doesn't care. Maybe it breaks even on its budget, and then they run it on their service and build up their service more, their platform. So it looks boring to me, but if you like sports movies and you want to see a one about rowing, there you go. Turning Red. Now, Walt Disney, or Disney, decided to release this movie in theaters because this was, I think, another pandemic movie, right? And this thing got trounced. Got absolutely trounced for its subject matter. This is a Pixar movie about a girl who comes of age and is having womanly problems, but they also manifest as this like superpower of turning into a red panda. Yeah, not too subtle an image for you. It made 11 million worldwide. I don't think they care at this point. I think they're just trying to get some of their movie back, or movie money back, but there's no way this is money. Yeah, the production budget is 175 million. Oh my God. God, they lost a huge amount of money. Ardent, I wish it was still 1975. Do I wish it was 1975? Let me think on that a minute. Saturday Night Live was good. It was amazing. It's 1975 Saturday Night Live. Watch it. It's mind-blowingly good. And for that time period, I do not miss the cigarette smoke. Yeah, people were smoking like chimneys, man. Do not miss that at all. No internet, though. Ugh. No internet is tough. But I have survived without it. I don't know about you out there. So, 1975, no internet, no cell phones. Can you imagine such a thing, my young audience? Ardent, except for disco. Oh, right. Yeah, disco. Disco was big. Yep. But, I was one of the contrarians who said, disco sucks, man. Rock and roll forever, man. I would always say, there was no good music recorded after 1974, man. So I was all about Rolling Stones, Beatles, The Who, Hendrix, etc. So, what else in 1975? Well, we were just about to hit the gas crisis. So I wasn't driving then, but I heard about it, and people complained about the very high prices of gas going to record-breaking prices of 77 cents a gallon. Ardent, punk started in the 70s. Yeah, I didn't hear about it until well into the 80s. It was, that's the other thing, it was a slower time. You wouldn't hear about trends. You had to it was a very paper-driven media, right? You had to get newspapers or magazines. Magazines were big in 1975. This is the equivalent of the internet. But it would take you weeks to learn something. It would take you weeks and months to find out a trend was happening in LA unless you lived there. Same thing in New York, unless you went to New York. That's why people went to the big cities, because the trends were happening there, and you would go there because it was hip and cool. out in the sticks, it sucked. Now, all the trends happen everywhere simultaneously, online, instantly for 20 minutes, and then they die. So, it's a different time, a lot slower. But in that time, me as a kid, it wasn't fast enough. And for the older adults and kids, it was too fast. Like, oh my God, this is crazy. I learned about this over a teletype just 2 days ago. I got this news. Wow. I heard it on the radio. But yeah, some ways I guess life was better. It was definitely more grounded. I'll tell you that. We couldn't do this discussion unless we're all hanging out somewhere, or you were listening to my radio program, or maybe ham radio program. Anyhow, Turning Red, that's a bomb. That's a bomb and a half for Disney. At this point, I don't know what they can do other than try to make some of the money back. Number 17 is The Iron Claw. I thought this movie would do better, but it did make money. $37 million. It had a budget of 15.9, so it made money. I would think this should have gotten an Oscar nod. It seemed like Oscar bait. After that is Origin. This is Ava DuVernay. 4.1 million. There's no way this is money, I would guess. I would love to know the budget. I would love to know. So, but I don't think we're going to ever know. I don't think we're ever going to know, because that's what Hollywood does. They hide the budget if they lose money, with some exceptions. Ardit, is The Iron Claw about wrestling? Yes, it is. About a very famous wrestling family that had very tragic times. The wrestling guys all seem to know it. They were called the Iron Claw. I think they existed in the late 70s, early 80s. The Boy and the Heron, still clunking around, $236,000. This movie did well. What's the name? Del Toro talked about this movie. Said he was impressed by it. The Taste of Things. This looks like it's been out for a while, but what the hell is it? 1.7 million. Well, that doesn't sound like money at all. France, 1889. Oh, I know what this is. Simmering passions between two master chefs and his longtime partner bubble over in this period love story. Yeah, this is a French film. Period piece. There's no way that's money, though. 1.7. Ardent, the Von Erichs? Yes. I know the stories from guys I wrestle with. Yeah, very tragic from what I hear. Very sad. I'm surprised it didn't do better. I thought the wrestling fans would flock to that thing. I thought it would do better. It made money, but I thought it would be, pretty huge. Trolls Band Together, 109,000. This movie unfortunately did good business, and there'll be a sequel, I assume. All of Us Strangers, gay romance movie. I don't think it made money. 8 million, 8.4, maybe, I don't know. Perfect Days. Do I know this movie? No, I do not. 7.3 million. Looks like a foreign movie. So, not sure what that's all about, but that seems like, again, not enough money. Book of Clarence. Oh, I'm not a fan. 6 million. Yeah, this movie could have been good. It could have been good if they embraced the comedy. I don't think they did. Doesn't look very funny at all to me. The only thing you need to do in a comedy is make it funny. So, I think you could have made this movie very funny, but I think it feels like there's a message in there, and that's the death of comedy. The Holdovers, still in theaters. Again, well, 37 million. Did this make money? Well, we don't know. But I doubt it. but then again, the Iron Claw did in this movie. You could probably shoot for that level, so maybe it made money. It's definitely Oscar bait. For some reason, it got nominated. I'm shocked it got nominated. It looks okay. I mean, Paul Giamatti is really good. I love the period. I love the music. I just don't think it speaks to today's audience. I mean, the characters live in the 70s. Like, if you'd done this 20 years ago, maybe. Now, most of those people are too old for movies. Maybe they watch it on the streamer. And really, I don't know what you're offering from that time period that's going to resonate. It's hard to do movies, I think, from a time period like the 70s because, really, it's like an alien time now. I had to explain to my nephew what it was like with phones. Like, what payphones were and how they worked. Like, I had to explain to him this way. I said, you don't understand. When we talked about phones in the past, phones were in a building, like washing machines. You couldn't take them with you. If you needed a phone, you had to go to a place with the phone. Like, the phone was an amenity in a building, or a tiny little building called a phone booth. If you wanted to touch a disgusting phone. God, payphones on the street were disgusting, by the way. People would spit on them and do horrible things to them. But, yeah. Or you would say, may I borrow your phone? And then people were paranoid that you would use their phone and call long distance and do something stupid. So, nobody had a phone with them. That, eventually we had pagers, and then we had the ability to call answering machines to get messages. But this was it's a slower process. Everything was much slower. So, people now, I mean, Gen Z, these people fall to pieces if you call them on the phone. They don't answer. They go, oh, what are you calling me for? Text me. They have a whole different hierarchy of etiquette. A phone call, that's like a big thing. Oh, you can't call me. Don't call me. There's a great book by Isaac Asimov. And it takes place in the future. It's about a detective trying to solve this murder. And I forget the name of it, but he's trying to solve this murder on a planet where the inhabitants of the planet, there's like not that many people on it. So they all live on these massive plantations by themselves, but they talk to the other plantation owners. They're all robotic. There's no like other people. And so they talk with holograms. They don't actually meet people face to face. So the detective has to go, one of them's murdered, and the detective has to go question these people, and they don't want to actually stand in the same room as him because they're not used to that. That's like a breach of their crazy etiquette. So, like, one guy wants to stand in the building and then talk to him through the hologram and not actually be in the room with him. But, like, one guy tolerates it, and then, it's all about, like, breaking into that world. That's what we're turning into. We're slowly turning into the Isaac Asimov characters in this story where, a personal contact? Oh, I'm not into that, man. Whereas in 1975, that's all you had. Like, you could call people on the phone. I would call producers down in LA. They didn't want to deal with me over the phone. They didn't want to deal with a person on the phone. They wanted people in person. They still do in Hollywood. Good luck getting a gig unless you're standing right next to the guy. Ardent, I've read that. Caves of Steel. Man, I just don't remember the name. That doesn't sound right, but that could be the name. So, like, the personal interaction is a thing that's dying with these kids. They find it off-putting. Which is really bad, because the thing about personal interaction is this. And look, to some extent, I was that bad when I was growing up. I didn't like a lot of I didn't like people. I didn't like personal interaction. I've never been a people person. But um, you learn so much interacting with a person face to face. You know, you first off, you can weed out a psychopath very quickly interacting with them face to face. They start doing weird things. They have nervous laughter, or they react to things in a weird way. Their body language is all off, and you'll get a sense of like, oh, there's some red flags here. I don't want to be near this person anymore. You know, especially when you're on a date or whatever. That's like a huge factor. You gotta meet in person. There are some people, they just don't do that. They meet online, and I'm not knocking that. I met plenty of people online and then dated them for a while. I fell in love with a girl online in Canada. Oh my God, I was so in love with her. But you have to meet people to really get to know them, and a lot of the younger kids, they kind of don't get that. They think they think they know enough online, and you really don't. Some of these people smell. Yeah, you won't know that from online. Anyhow, where was I? ISIS, there it is again, the Bleecker Street ISS, $56,000, 6.5 million. It might be money because again, they make these movies pretty affordable. I don't think there's any big stars in it, so probably shot mostly in a soundstage, few effects. I think they could have made money on that movie. Oppenheimer, you're not going to get to $1 billion, Universal. You're just not. $55,000. It's at $959 million. Maybe the Oscar bump will finally push you over the top, but that's, I mean, you're going to have to make $41 million, about $40 million. That's going to be a big bump if it happens, but I think they really want to push this over $1 billion. Maybe after it hits streaming and DVD and Blu-ray, maybe. But, I mean, you can make a good 20 mil on DVD and Blu-ray. I think a lot of people will be looking for the Blu-ray and DVD because it's Christopher Nolan. They'll be makings of, and there'll be all this research he did. He's like one of those guys. He drills and drills and drills down. You know, I hate watching all that stuff, generally speaking. It's too much for me. I don't know, sometimes it ruins the mystique. Sometimes it just comes off to me as a bunch of people talking about themselves, and it kind of turns me off, depending, unless they're really knowledgeable. But sometimes it just ruins the mystique, you know? Like, I like a little bit of it, you know? I like a good, punchy interview. Like, I wanted to see a little bit of the interview with, like, Peter Jackson and Lord of the Rings, but I don't want to see everything. You know, I might want to get some questions answered about why didn't, for instance, include Tom Bombadil, but beyond that, you know, I don't want to hear every, like, friggin' detail. But that's just me. And I definitely don't want to hear the interviews with the actors because they tend to suck. They tend to be phony, self-serving. Once in a while, like Robert Downey Jr., again, another exception. The guy's just so charismatic. I mean, pretty much anything he says, I go, ooh. He might have a point. Wish. Wish. This movie tanked. $239 million. It cost $200 million to make. It's not money. The Sweet East. It bumped it up into 30 more theaters, huh? It's in its 11th week. Okay. It still only made $227,000. I think this movie's done. I think I can safely say The Sweet East is done. But okay. Anslim, I don't know what this movie is. It's been in the theaters for 10 weeks now. Killers of a Flower Moon, another movie. I mean, no matter how hard you're going to AstroTurf Lily Gladstone, I don't think she's going to happen, but she might get Best Actress because Hollywood, yeah, they might just give it to her. Because look at how nice we are. We're Hollywood. Does she deserve it? I don't know. I didn't see the damn movie, but $156 million for a 3.5-hour movie. There's no way this movie made money. Yeah, it's a $200 million budget. You really want to give Best Actress to a flop? Okay. Just, that should be a qualifier at least. Like, I'm not saying you should make money the only metric in a movie, but if a movie flops, like, and that's a flop, I think you could safely say this is a flop. When it comes like $40 million, $44 million short of breaking even just on the production. I mean, how much did they spend on advertising? Probably not 200 million, but definitely 100 million, I would say. So you're talking about a lot of money lost. Back in the day, they would call this a flop, and they would like quietly retire it and pretend like it never happened. Oh, Martin Scorsese, his last movie, what was that? The Irishman? No, didn't he direct Killers of a Flower Moon? I don't remember that movie. I think it was The Irishman. Even that movie didn't do well. I think you have to go back to The Departed. So, I mean, it's a shame. When it was first advertised, I thought, ooh, Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio. I remember talking about it, going, oh, yeah, I think I'm looking forward to this. 3.5 hours? Nah, I'm not sitting through that. I'm definitely not going to the theater for that. You think I could sit in a theater for 3.5 hours? Voluntarily? No. 3.5 hours? What am I supposed to do for bathroom time? When am I supposed to leave? Am I supposed to take a nap during it? No intermission? What are you, out of your mind? I got stuff to do. On top of the fact, it'll be a half an hour before the movie starts. That's a 4-hour commitment. 4 friggin' hours. I need a break. There needs to be an intermission in that movie. Martin Scorsese was furious that they put an intermission in it. How can you be furious over a 3.5? I'm furious you made a 3.5 hour movie. Now, maybe if it's paced super, super well, but I hear it's not. So, there you go. Inheritance to Love. This is new. I don't know this one. Looks like a love story, I guess. Looks, I like the movie poster. She's cute. So, it sounds like a love story. Neo. That sounds like a foreign movie. Yes. International box office is already 3.3 million. Made $7,400 here. It's only in one theater. And Drift made $6,000. No idea what this is. It's like kind of a naked guy on the poster. What the hell is this? I thought it would be about like racing or something. I thought it would be like a Fast and Furious movie. Okay, and the final box office. The final box office for this weekend is $38 million. Holy F, it didn't even break 40. Wow. Wow. 38 million. That is awful. That is just awful. You might as well have taken the weekend off. 38 million. You could have made that much, I'm guessing, by replacing all the current movies with classics. Like if you just played nothing but classic movies, right? Replace all these with North by Northwest, Young Frankenstein, hell, regular Frankenstein, every classic movie, Die Hard, Casablanca, Citizen Kane, put all those movies back in. You would have probably done better than 38 million that weekend. You would have gotten me to the theater. I would have been like, ooh, I could see Casablanca on the big screen? Cool. Oh, I could see Predator 2 again on the big screen? Fantastic. I mean, Jesus. This is awful. Wow. But why would anybody be surprised? Look at these movies. Look at these movies. Out of all these movies, I kind of want to see Lisa Frankenstein. I don't want to pay for it. The Beekeeper I would pay for. Wonka, I'm not paying for that. I'm not paying for anyone but you. Dune. Dune's on Max. I'm not going to pay for it. American Fiction I would pay for. Poor Things, not a fucking chance. Sorry. Not a friggin' chance. I'm paying for that. Poor Things. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. I'm not paying for that. Night Swim. Nah. Turning Red. Go F yourself. Iron Claw. Maybe. It's so sad though. I don't know if I even want to say it. Book of Clarence. Go F yourself. The Holdovers. Maybe. ISS. Maybe. Oppenheimer. Yeah, I would pay for that. Killers of a Flower Moon. No, I'm not paying for it. No. I mean, that's about it. It's like 4 or 5 movies out of all these. No wonder. No wonder Hollywood's in trouble. Look at this. Look at this list. It's awful. Wish should just be out of the theaters. Shouldn't even be in there. Should have never been greenlit. The Boy and the Heron, which I would go see. I hear it's great. That's a foreign movie. That's not from this country. That doesn't even count. You're lucky some other countries made some halfway decent flicks. Hollywood. I mean, Mean Girls should have never been greenlit. Dumb. Stupid. Poor Things, no. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. What a disaster. What an absolute disaster. Like Boys in the Boat, yeah, I'd greenlight that. I mean, again, if you keep the budget low, you don't lose your shirt on these things. But you lost your shirt on Argylle. Look at all the stinkers here. Argylle, loser, flop. Poor Things, maybe. I think that's probably didn't make any money. Mean Girls, maybe. I think that made money. No, that made money. Zone of Interest did not make any money, I would say. Turning Red, definitely a flop. Wish, definitely a flop. Origin, probably a flop. Book of Clarence, probably didn't make any money. Killers of a Flower Moon, definitely a flop. I mean, look at all these. Back in the day, if one movie lost the kind of money you'd see here, it would be a big news story. It would be like, oh my God. I mean, it was Heaven's Gate. That was considered a big flop at the time. I forget how much it lost and how much it made. Let's look it up. Heaven's Gate. This was the quintessential movie that lost its shirt. So the worldwide box office was $3.4 million, and the budget was $44 million. So it lost $41 million. That, people talked about this for months, for a couple of years, really. Whenever you talked about a flop, oh, well, at least it's not Heaven's Gate. It cost $44 million, and they lost almost all of it. It only made back 3.4. But compare that to Wish, or Argylle, or Red. They all lost like $150 million. Each one of them lost over $100 million at least. Same thing with Killers of a Flower Moon. Probably lost close to $200 million, some of these movies. And they all happened. Like, this is this month, or like within the last 2 months. That Heaven's Gate was an aberration. It was just like one movie that lost. The rest of the movies were okay. Or like maybe they didn't lose a lot of money. Frankenhooker made more money. Kite is here. Hey, everyone. Welcome, Kite. Haven't seen you in a while, buddy. Good to see you. So Hollywood, you're so done. 38 million. You got to think of something new. You got to change the movie-going experience. You got to slash your prices. Get some people in the theater. Look, Argylle, I have no doubt, is a terrible movie, but it looks fun. If it was fun and it was cheap, I might go bring my ass to the movie theater and not care if it sucked. Too bad. I mean, if there were a couple laughs in it and it only cost me $5, I'd be like, well, That movie wasn't that great, but it was all right. But I'm not paying. If I pay $14, go into the theater, sit through a half hour of commercials and previews, and then finally get to the movie, and then I'm exhausted by the end of it, going, "Gee, I paid all this money, and it was terrible." Then I'm pissed off. But if I pay $5 and I drift into the movies and I see a couple of previews and maybe one commercial for snacks, maybe I get a free bag of popcorn with it, I had a nice time at least. At least I say, well, it's not too bad. Kite. Yeah, I've been super busy lately. One of my raid nights on a game cuts into being able to watch it live, but looks like I get to today. Congratulations. Yeah, I wanted to start late because of the Super Bowl. I was at a thing, stuffed my face, and got the hell out of there before the game started. My sister-in-law made all this food. It was good. It was good. I ate a little too much, actually. I was driving home going, oh, man, I need a nap. I need a nap before the live stream. It was good. I'm going to eat some of the leftovers after this stream is over. But yeah, devastating weekend here. All right, let's move into the trades. I didn't do a Hollywoke hot take yesterday, so the big news, Deadpool trailer dropped. I did do a trailer analysis, but you're only going to see it on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble. I didn't put it on YouTube. So, got to go over there. Once in a while that happens because I like to do the Piney podcast on YouTube to try to get little different things on YouTube once in a while, and that seems to be going well. So, yeah, check that out. It looks okay. I mean, watch my trailer analysis. It went on a little long. I did like a 22-minute thing. Looks like Wicked, the movie's coming out. I so don't care about that, but it's a musical. People like it. Ryan Gosling did The Fall Guy, which was a TV show in the 80s starring Lee Majors. This looks like it's going to be respectful to the show because Lee Majors is actually in it. So I think it can be good. It looks pretty good from what I saw of the trailer. So I think they're doing a slightly different spin on it. I hope they're going to... What I'd like to see is that like Ryan Gosling is like the son or grandson of Lee Majors. That would be cool. That would be a cool continuation of it. It'd be fun. And if you haven't seen the Fall Guy TV show, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. He was a stuntman who solved mysteries. Because everybody solved mysteries in the 80s. That's what we did. I remember when I and my stoner buddies drove around the country in a van solving mysteries with our dog. It was a lot of fun. Post Malone brings grit to the Super Bowl with emotional America the Beautiful performance. Okay, I'll allow it. I guess. I don't know. I don't care. Reba McEntire lights up Super Bowl with national anthem after 50 years of hailing Twilight's last gleaming. Okay. I don't know why they need the other stupid anthem or why they're calling it the Black National Anthem. Black is not a nation. Please stop calling it that. Please just stop it. It's just dumb. You're being purposely divisive for no reason. But that's the NFL these days, I think. I mean, this is the same NFL that took a knee. People already forgetting. I won't forget, but I don't care about the NFL anyway. I don't care about sports ball other than to make fun of it. What else is going on? SpongeBob opens Super Bowl with rousing sweet victory performance. Oh, SpongeBob was on the Super Bowl. I guess everybody goes. I don't know. More Super Bowl stuff. I don't care about the commercials on the Super Bowl. I mean, for a brief shining moment, I kind of did because they were kind of fun for a while, but now they become such a thing. It's annoying. So annoying. Oh, you're going to watch the new commercials? No, I'm not. I'm not going out of my way to see ads for products. You weirdo. It's so weird. Oh, you got to see all the commercials. No, I do not. Over at Fandom Pulse. Oh, I have an article on Fandom Pulse, by the way. I don't know if the link. See if the link is here somewhere. Marvel once tried a football-themed comic in their new universe with kickers. I remember that. Yeah, it didn't go very well, but I give them credit for trying. It was weird. It was kind of like superheroes and football. It didn't quite work. I think they should have just done a straight football comic. Probably would have done well. Warner Brothers erases Coyote versus Acme, despite strong audience score and possibly leading to Fed investigation. Not sure what's going on here with the movie. I guess they were worried about spending the money to advertise it, but it's their movie. If they want to delete it, maybe it's just super, super woke. Maybe it had a bunch of woke stuff in it they really didn't want people to see. I don't know. But I wouldn't trust the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. What, are you kidding me? Can't trust that score. No way. I forget who owns it. I want to say Warner Brothers owns Rotten Tomatoes, so I wouldn't be shocked at a strong audience score there. Yeah. And quite frankly, I don't want to see it because John Cena's in it, so who cares? Ewan McGregor begs MegaCon crowd to write Disney and ask for second season of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Who do I write to ask them never to produce Star Wars again? That's what I will do. I'll be happy to write that letter. Dear Disney, I am a former Star Wars fan. Please stop making Star Wars. You suck. Sincerely, Tony DiGerolamo. Arden. But you remember Super Pro? Yes, I do. Another kind of super... I forget. Who published that? I forget. That's right, Super Pro. Yeah. I think that was a little more football-y, but didn't it have some superhero stuff in it, too? Wasn't he, like, super-powered football player or something? Again, like, just make a comic about football or don't even bother. I would say. And I don't even like football. Let's see. Uh-oh. Looks like this is my other op-ed, I think. Yep. The indie comic Civil War is bad for creators and fans. Okay. This wasn't the article I thought he was going to put. I actually wrote this one first. And so I'm going to have to read to see if there was any editing. I didn't know he was going to post this, but I'm fine with it. I was worried it might be a little dated because some of the events may have changed the thing. These are my two very angry op-eds about current state of comics, by the way. But this isn't the one I was thinking of, but I can't wait to read it. Ooh, and I got a comment. Art, Marvel had that one. He was basically NFL Iron Man. Oh, okay. I never read it. I remember seeing it in the store going, what is this? I kind of flipped through it. What else? Death of Disney Animation Part 3. Oh, here it is. The collectibles market and speculation is the biggest problem with the comic book industry. Yeah, this is the first one John posted. So I got 2 comments in that. I should address my comments. I forgot I had to do that. So this is basically, I basically say the collectible market. I forget the original title. I had a much shorter, punchier title for the op-ed, but like collectability is killing us, something like that. But yeah, I mean, collectibles in comics is killing the industry, hands down. The mentality of it, you've got, and it's really hurting indie creators more than anybody, because when you buy a comic from an indie creator and you buy it because it's got a shiny cover and it's cover, 4 of 5, and it's got chromium stuff, and there's a super hot artist on it and all this stuff, you're encouraging the fans not to read it. You're encouraging a fan to buy it and putting it in a bag and never looking at it. And if you want to make your money that way, it's a free country. Make your money how you want, but don't stand there and say, "Oh, I'm going to save comics because I'm making comics." No, you're not really making comics. What you're making is a collectible, and collectibles are only hot if people are willing to keep buying and selling them. Once they realize, hey, this really isn't what I want, the bottom drops out of the market and they kind of disappear. The stuff that endures in the secondary part market in the comic world are important stories. So, for instance, there's an important story, although it's been undermined by current DC. It's called Death in the Family, when they killed off Jason Todd. Now, they brought him back. Unfortunately, it undermines the story, but when they first published it, it was a hot story. Fans voted online whether or not to kill Robin, and the Joker killed them, and it was a 4-part issue, and it's actually a really good 4-part issue. An important story in the continuity. It's now no longer important because they brought him back, but back then it was. And because of that, it held its price. You know, the first appearance of Batman, the first appearance of Spider-Man, the first appearance of this villain or that villain. All those are important stories. The death of Gwen Stacy. All those are important stories. They hold their price because they're important stories. If you just have a hot collectible, people might buy into it, at least initially, but the moment the price starts to slip, people panic if they're investing in comics, and they go, "Oh, I better get rid of this before the bottom drops out." And they sell the comic, and then people see them selling the comic, and then the price goes down further, and then they sell their comic, and it's a downward spiral to nothing. And because you sold your comic based on its collectability, nobody read the story, so nobody cares about issue 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever. So why do it? Well, you can make a lot of money if you can juggle that ball in the air, which a lot of crowdfunders are doing. And look, they're making a lot of money. I can't fault them for that. But when they no longer have an audience, or when the audience is just exhausted of buying their collectible stuff that's BS, what are you going to do? You won't have any audience then. And those guys not only stop buying your comic, they get out of comics, period. Because they feel like they've been ripped off. They feel like they got pulled into a Ponzi scheme, and for a while it was hot, and then when the prices all collapse, and then the artist says, "Well, I don't do that comic anymore," or "Well, I'm out of comics," or they just don't answer emails anymore, well, guess what? They really feel like they got ripped off. And then they dump their comics on the open market and they vow, "I'm never doing this again." And the next creator comes by and says, "Hey, I got a new comic. You want to see it?" They go, "F you. I bought new comics before. It was a waste of my time." And that's the problem with the comic book industry. Yeah, the woke people screw things up too. But that's the problem. They are just a symptom of a bigger problem. Ardent, what the F are they selling on Etsy? Well, it looks like hot dogs, necklaces, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as a slug. Maybe Dwayne the Slug Johnson. Collectible cars, and a keychain shaped like a dog that says "Key Pie." I guess that says. I don't know. All right. So check out my angry op-eds about the comic industry at Fandom Pulse. All right, moving on to the Hollywood Reporter. Here's more Post Malone singing. Oh, it looks so gritty, doesn't it? Look how gritty he is. He's wearing jeans and boots, and he's singing. Where's all the tattoos on his face? Doesn't he have a bunch of tattoos on his face? Or maybe because he grew his hair. I don't know. Looks like they aired the Twisters trailer. That's a sequel to a movie from the 90s, everybody. Yes, back in the 90s, we had these things called movies. And they were kind of good sometimes. And that was okay. That was, Twister was all right. Bill Paxton was in that one. So now they have a sequel. It's called Twisters. And it's going to be about a tornadoes. I guess Helen Hunt might be in it. She was in the first one. I don't know. She looks weird now. We'll see. What else? Santa Barbara Film Fest, Robert Downey Jr., Lily Gladstone, and Billie Eilish feted. I don't know what that means. What's feted mean in that context? Did they all wear armor and hunt Han Solo? Is that what that means? Feted. John Hamm narrates Despicable Me Super Bowl trailer mocking AI glitches. Is this all going to be headlines about the Super Bowl? What happened to movies? Gee, I wonder why nobody saw movies this weekend. Bachelor producers freeze when they asked about franchise diversity woes. Yeah, because who the F cares about diversity? Hollywood Reporter. No one. Ardent celebrated, but I like feted more. Oh, okay. So they're hero worship, I guess. New Predator movie in the works with Dan Trachtenberg directing. I'm not excited. I don't know. I think they kind of ruined that one. Pretty good. That franchise, pretty done. Conjuring 4. If anybody's, I can't believe they're making a fourth one of these, but apparently it's popular enough. Over Deadline, more on the Super Bowl, more on Twisters. Joe Biden laments shrinkflation in social media bowl spot. Joe Biden couldn't do the softball interview, but apparently they wanted him to do this. And what he basically said was, people are going to the store and they're buying the same product, but instead of it costing more, now companies are shrinking the portions. And that's not right. He's going to do something about it. Oh, okay. Now you're going to do something about inflation, huh? Okay. Yeah, how about this? How about stop taxing us, you moron? How about just stop sending all our money to the Ukraine? How about stop killing the energy industry? How about just resigning because you're clearly in over your head, you old coot? Oh, yeah, he's going to write angry letters to companies because your Cheetos bag is a little smaller. Oh, yeah, that ought to help. I'm sure they'll get right on that, Joe Biden. Yeah, I'm sure they'll get right on to losing money. I'm sure all those companies will line up and say, oh, yeah, we can make less money. No problem, Mr. President. Gee, we didn't even know. Yeah, we'll make less money. Okay. Yeah, they won't fire a bunch of people trying to make those numbers. No. What an absolute clown. Nothing. Look at this. This is Deadline. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin taken to hospital. Yeah, he's starring in so many movies. I guess we had to find that out here. In case you don't know, Lloyd Austin, besides being the defense secretary, he was the guy who went into the hospital and didn't tell anybody. And for days, nobody in the Pentagon knew where the defense secretary was. He was in the hospital getting an operation on his prostate, I think. And so now he's had to go back to the hospital. Oh, no, but he shouldn't resign, everybody. He's fine. He went to the hospital once in secret, leaving important defense matters to no one knows because he didn't tell anybody. Hello, you've reached Secretary Lloyd Austin's voicemail. I'm not in right now, but if you'll leave a message, I'll get right back to you. Sir, they're launching the missiles. Where are you? I've been trying to contact you for 2 days. Please call us back. I mean, yeah, 1975. Okay, maybe. I don't think you want to do this in the modern era. I think if you don't answer the phone in an hour, I have to assume you've been assassinated by agents. If there's some war breaks out, oh, we're only in like 4 wars. Yeah, disappear for a week. Who cares? What the hell, man? And thanks for running interference for him, Deadline. Thanks a lot. Because I'm sure I know where your politics are. I bet they're not on the right. I bet you'll say anything to defend this administration. But hey, you're covering movies. Unbelievable. Oh my God, shooter at Pastor Joel Osteen's megachurch in Houston. Police respond, child reported injured. Oh, that sounds terrible. Jesus. It's kind of TV because he's on TV, but my God. And then more Super Bowl. I don't care about Super Bowl. Billy Joel's 100th Madison Square Garden show will air on CBS. Well, that's kind of cool. I like Billy Joel. I had his albums when albums were a thing. So, good for him. Good for him for not doing some kind of, I'm retiring. This will be my retirement tour. And then coming back 2 years later and doing it again. Bleeding Fool. Anemic box office numbers lowest since global pandemic. So, let that sink in. We went through a pandemic and, nobody could go to the movies in most of the country except Nebraska. Or no, South Dakota. Wherever Kristi Noem is governor. That was the only place that didn't lock down. You can go to the movies all you want in South Dakota or whatever she's governor. But New Jersey, oh God, you can't go to the movies. You can't go to the movies. Wear a mask, social distance. I did a comic book convention during the pandemic because it was scheduled ahead of time, and they felt like they couldn't cancel it. I won't say which one. They're really nice. And they were, in their defense, they kind of had to follow the rules at the time because everybody was in a panic. So I go to the convention. First off, I had to wear a mask, which was awful because I have to talk to people all day. I try to sell them on the damn books. And so I'm at a table, and then the tables were spaced, right? So it was like, it was some kind of weird Calvin Klein commercial. Where all the tables were super far apart and everybody who came in had a mask, had to be checked for a temperature, could wash their hands. They would stand at my table, but they would keep their distance. And then, if they decided to buy something, they'd buy it. One lady bought a book and kind of wiped her. She put some hand sanitizer on her hand and then kind of wiped down the covers of the book. It was nuts. It was absolutely insane. I was just like, God, I kept running outside and pulling my mask off because I was just like, I'm so hot under this mask and I've been talking and talking and talking all day. It was a nightmare. But I actually did okay at that show. Despite that, people did want to go out. But God, they all took their precautions, and it was weird. It was just weird. Thank God I don't have to do that anymore. Thank God people are finally as mad as I am at the government about that. Well, they'll find something else. They'll find something else to frighten the normies, I'm sure. All right, we covered the rest of this. Over at the Wrap, best Super Bowl commercials, everybody. Oh, aren't you interested in the Super Bowl commercials? I know I'm not. Shut up. Here we go. Chris Christie, the reliable fat man, according to lefties. Mark Rubio seek to debunk and destroy Taylor Swift's Super Bowl conspiracies. Really, Mark Rubio? You felt the need to do this? Like Chris Christie, I don't care. He doesn't work in government anymore, so who cares what he does? Mark Rubio, though, you're an actual senator. Don't address this stuff. Ardent, disease X is coming. Just ask the WEF. Yeah. Thanks, WEF, for ruining a comic book convention. Cox stations restored on DirecTV right before Super Bowl kickoff. Only people who have DirecTV would know what this is about, but basically, I guess it was Fox that got into a fight with the DirecTV people, or I guess it was Cox Stations got into a fight with the DirecTV people or something over their football package and just like cut it off. And then their customers couldn't get their football stuff that they paid for. I don't know how they handled it. I'm probably getting some of the details wrong, but there was some dust up with that. So that's weird. At least they get to see the Super Bowl, I guess. Antonian Fuqua to direct Nelson Mandela documentary troublemaker, executive producer, South African leader's cellmate. Oh, and that happened right in the middle of it. Oh, okay. And now they've got an update. Well, I wasn't. All right, I lost that one. I don't know what happened. All right, so they're making another documentary on Nelson Mandela. Whatever. All right, let's go to the post-millennial, only because this headline, boy falsely accused of blackface by Deadspin arrives at Super Bowl wearing full headdress. This is the guy, this kid was accused of blackface by a woke sports thing called Deadspin. And like, I don't think the guys apologized for it. But not only this kid was wearing like half black, half red, which was the colors of it was the Chiefs, I guess. He's a Chiefs fan. Not only was he not wearing blackface, but he tried to spin it like, oh yeah, and the Native Americans too. He's insulting. He's also, I think, in the tribe. I think he's related to the tribe. And the tribe wasn't offended. The last thing Fuck What did that I liked was the Replacement Killers. Oh, okay. I don't think there's... here's one. Elon Musk slams false news reports that SpaceX is selling Starlink to Russia. God. Here's a guy. He basically gave Starlink uplinks to Ukraine so they could conduct their stupid little war that's going nowhere. And then the U.S. government's just ass blasting them. It's just ridiculous. I'm not going to get into the non-media headlines here. Although Post Millennial is a good site. You should check it out if you haven't. His grandfather's a chief. Oh, okay. Yeah, he is definitely a relative then. It's just so amazing, that story. That the guy at Deadspin didn't immediately do 180 and go, oh, you know what? I messed up. I saw the picture wrong. I'm so sorry. He's a good kid or whatever. Nope. He doubled down. I don't think he apologized yet. So, but this robo-taxi driverless car set on fire during San Francisco Lunar New Year's celebration. So everything's just going great in San Fran. That city, man. I wanted to live in that city. It was so nice when I went there back in the late 80s. I mean, even then it was starting to go downhill, but oh man, the weather's so beautiful. Back then, the cops actually still did some things. There wasn't poop on the street. It was fine. But now, God, they've ruined that city. Ruined it. Everybody who ever worked for the San Francisco government ought to be fired and banned from ever holding office ever again. This one, I did want to talk about this. So this comedian cracks an epic George Floyd joke, triggered the audience members to leave. I don't know if I could say the joke, but it was really funny. You should click on the link and watch the joke. He's black, by the way. So, like, the people who left, I think, were black too, because they were offended. But like, this guy was pretty funny about it. He made a really funny joke about George Floyd, and it's edgy. Like, they had no reason to leave. It was clearly a joke. He wasn't serious about it, and then he followed it up with, "I like Kyle Rittenhouse too." But you got to hear the joke he did. It was funny. And then, of course, everybody on Twitter was like blasting the guy. But, this is the people who left. Don't ever go to a comedy show again, because you might be offended by something. Can't laugh at George Floyd jokes. Come on. This guy's going to be now a superstar, because this has gone super viral. And in the world of comedy, man, oh yeah. Now, he's probably going to have trouble getting work in certain cities, at certain venues, but in other places, he'll work. Yeah. Put him on the base comedy tour, because it was funny. All right. I think that's about it for Post Millennial. And then Breitbart Entertainment, just to dip in it real quick. This was another story this week. Selma Blair, I don't know if you remember her. She was in the Hellboy movie. She played the fire starter, and who's sort of Hellboy's girlfriend in the first Hellboy movies. Anyhow, she's been in a few things. She made a comment on X, Twitter, about saying something about, again, I don't know if I could say it, but she said something about people of Arab descent, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, and basically she implied a huge group of people were terrorists. It has to do with Hamas, and it was a little too much. She deleted the post, but now she's getting blasted for it. So now CARE, which is the Arab organization in the U.S., condemns actress Selma Blair for comment on Talib Bush voting to admit Hamas fighters as refugees. So this has all become very political for no reason. Like, first off, you've got every actor and actress in Hollywood saying political things all day long. Nobody in Congress should be commenting on them whatsoever. But these two idiots are the squad, Talib and Cori Bush, and they're both in trouble, by the way. Cori Bush especially. Cori Bush is in trouble for using, I think, taxpayer funds for her security. Yeah, this is one of those defund police morons. Oh, but she'll get hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of security, private security. Don't worry, she'll be fine. Oh, but for you, defund the police. Oh yeah, the police are bad. No, we don't want you to have cops. Oh, I need cops though. Oh no, I'm different from you. See, that's how it works when you're a commie, in my view. Arden, I'm sorry, but I had to check that joke out. Wasn't all that spicy, but he can handle hecklers pretty well. Yeah, I thought it was great. I laughed. I thought it was fun. I mean, just to have the cojones to even say that in front of a crowd, that's a comedian. Like, yeah, and then he didn't back down. Don't apologize, dude. Whatever that dude should do, he should not apologize. Do not apologize. Stick to your guns, whatever it costs you, because in the end, you'll be king. So, Stranger Things stars book signings canceled in San Francisco and Chicago over anti-Israel intimidation. This is Brett Gelman, who I'm not a huge fan of. He's said some pretty woke things, but there's no reason to intimidate him. But he's had some, it sounds like pretty anti-Semitic threats laid against him. Probably part of it, I think, his outspoken nature probably attracted some of these wackos. Not that he shouldn't have his own opinion, but when you're an actor and you're in a public forum, you should probably not speak on every friggin' thing that comes to your mind. But he shouldn't. He probably did the right thing. I mean, you're going to go out in public and have to worry some guy's going to come up and stab you or something. I mean, especially in Chicago and San Francisco, the two worst places in the United States right now. It's like third world countries. Yeah, I'd cancel those book signings too. Who the hell's reading books in San Francisco? They're too busy pooping on the streets, dude. What are they going to buy your book for? For toilet paper? Who's left in San Francisco to buy anything? And in Chicago, I mean, good luck not getting shot. Kite. I mean, Hamas knows it is and admits it. Talib and Bush have been okay with terrorism at the basic definition, at least using violence to change politics, even if it's for good, because by definition, it's terrorism. These are the squad. The squad guys, they're full-blown commies in my view. They're all commies. I hope they're all voted out of office, never to be elected to anything ever again. But they'll probably leave politics and go right into some sort of group that has some crazy name that sounds good, but is actually probably secretly financed by the CCP or some local socialist organization that's indirectly funded by the CCP or George Soros to work to continue to tear down society, because As James Lindsay says, no matter what the issue is, when you hear these people talk, no matter what the issue is, there's really only one issue, and that's the revolution. They're all about the revolution. Like, no matter what it is, the issue is not the issue. The issue is the revolution. See, everything they do is about bringing about the revolution in order to overturn society so they can remake it and be in total control of it. That's their goal. So the issue is never the issue. Always remember that when you're dealing with these commies. They don't really care about drag queens or George Floyd or what actresses say about anything. It's about the revolution. 100%. Ardent, citizens united to normalize terrorism and socialism? Probably. Oh, I get it. The an acronym. Is that what it is? Yeah, an acronym. Yes, you could spell that out on your own, folks. YouTube probably won't let me. Censorship, damn it. Taylor Swift has yet to acknowledge the death of Toby Keith, who jump-started her career. Oh, that's sad. I didn't know that. Why wouldn't she say something nice? He just died. Kite. This is a problem with people overusing a word incorrectly. They have made terrorism just mean any non-left violence, be it physical or emotional. Yes. And another thing to remember about communist and Marxist is they use words as weapons. Everything they say and do, everything they say, they use these loaded terms that are truths married to a lie. So the idea is they're constantly looking to trap you into an argument where you have no chance of winning, right? So it's like when they say, they conflate equity and equality. Well, you just don't want you just want people of color to have equity. You're racist. Like, they trap you in these word games. You have to be very careful, and you have to call them out. Kite, done on purpose because their followers are small-minded cultists. Yes. And they are also lazy and stupid. Most people are very, very stupid. There was a study that said only 20% of the population, any population really, in the United States though, are independent thinkers, consider themselves independent thinkers, while the other 80% will go along with authorities, even like authoritarian authority, because they just go along to get along. And they just think it'll be fine, don't worry about it. They are very comfortable being told what to do. And I've known people like that in my life. And they'll tell you flat out, I don't want a career. I just want a job where people tell me what to do and I make a bunch of money. They don't care. They don't care what the job is. They don't care how boring it is. As long as they're guaranteed money, they're good. They don't think about it. They don't have to think. They have a comfortable life, and that's all they want. And if you can make people comfortable, they'll pretty much accept anything. It's when the food runs out, they go, "Hey, I'm a revolutionary." Yeah, and the rest of us go, "Yeah, no kidding. We're all starving over here. You're just starving. You just started starving. Yeah, this sucks. Yeah, we've been fighting the system, and well, I want to fight the system now too. Yeah, until you get a little bit of food, and then you'll go right back to your hidey hole. Well, yeah." That's the way people are. It's like the anti-war movement. So during Bush, I'm a big anti-war guy, and I was involved with the anti-war movement during Bush, and I went to a couple of protests. I didn't go to a lot, but I went to a few. It was all run by commies, by the way. All socialists run the anti-war movement, practically. Ardent, a comfortable enough noose, yeah. Or at least back then they did. And then Obama got elected, and poof, they all disappeared. Every one of them. They didn't want to do any anti-war stuff after that. Oh, you couldn't find a meeting of anti-war guys. During the Bush era, oh yeah, there were protests every week. I went down to a protest in was either Egg Harbor or Absecon, I think. It was just on the street. Oh man, it was a little scary. I had a guy pulled over in a truck, started screaming at me. And I was like, dude, I just don't want people to be horribly murdered. I want the war to end. I want to be out in the Middle East. He was like, they did it 9/11. It was very mad. And he was in a truck, so I was a little worried he'd come back and run us over because we were kind of near the road. But he didn't. So, you know, it just felt very aggressive. And you know, but the moment Obama got in, that all ended. I couldn't find those guys anymore. Nobody wanted to do it anymore. Oh, he'll do something. Yeah, right. So, make no mistake. You know, there are a lot of people. They're told what to do, and the news tells them what to do. When you know the people who are mostly upset about Trump and are utterly obsessed, they're often told by the news to be upset about Trump all the time. All the time. You should be about, oh my God, Trump tried to overthrow the country, January 6th. You should be upset. You should be very upset. And they get very upset. A lot of my older relatives, I cannot talk politics with them anymore. I used to talk about it all the time. Perfectly okay conversation back and forth. When Trump comes up, poof, they go off the rails. Like off the rails. Any political discussion, they will bring it back to Trump and it instantly goes right off the rails. Like, it doesn't matter what you say, the cognitive dissonance, and that's what they call it, is so sheer, you can't have a reasonable discussion with some of my relatives. You cannot. It's pointless. They're living in an alternate reality because they believe the news. And it's very frustrating. But there is hope because here's Michael Rappaport, who was one of the biggest, and he still is very critical of Trump, but he has finally admitted that the hoax perpetrated on Trump, this is the Very Fine People hoax. If you guys remember that, this is when Trump made a statement about Charlottesville, and the news clipped out the portion where he said there were very fine people on both sides, and the news implied that, oh, see, he's calling the bad guys from Germany very fine people. He's a racist. And it was completely taken out of context. And this has been proven over and over again on the right side of politics and the right side of news, because they had every reason to do that, and it was pretty easy to do. But on the left side, absolutely not. They absolutely hammered Trump with this, and his anti-Trump people with this over and over again. And my older relatives 100% believe that narrative. You know, I could show them Michael Rappaport, that they will instantly dismiss it. No, he's wrong. I heard it. That's what they tell me. I heard it. I heard the clip. And I would say, no, you took it. It's taken out of context. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I could argue until I'm blue in the face. So I don't argue with them anymore. I just say, we don't talk about politics. You get too upset. Ardent. About effing time. Mike, that hoax was the reason I woke up and started paying attention. Yeah, basically. And like, the weird thing about Michael Rappaport, he's got the kind of personality who, if he supported Trump, that would work. Like, his personality would totally work. You know, being a no-nonsense, pragmatic kind of Brooklynite who says, of course you got to vote for Trump. What are you, idiot? But instead, he still hates Trump. He still hates him. But he at least admits this, and he admits that he might vote for Trump because Biden's that bad. So I think he's slowly making his move away from the Democrats because it's so bad on the left. Although I think if he finds an alternate choice, he'll immediately jump to it. So, for instance, you got Rob Schneider, who I like now. I never really was a huge Rob Schneider fan back in the day, but now I like his politics, so it made me give him a second look. And I also heard some stuff about him behind the scenes, which was just freaking hilarious. And I feel like the guy never really got his real comedy out there, but that's the story with SNL, but another story at another time. But now he's a big supporter of RFK. But, you know, it's fine to support RFK if you want. At least he's not supporting Biden. But he's more of a right-wing guy. Kite. You know what I feel it really is he realized the left won't support him, just champion his words, causing him to lose money. He knows the right are forgiving enough to help him stay relevant. Yeah, that's part of it too. I think he sees the way the wind is blowing. And a lot of guys are going to be like this. A lot of guys are going to just, oh, I always supported Trump. I never really supported cancel culture. Not really. I said some things. I'm sorry about that. I'll tell you who will never leave the left is Seth MacFarlane, man. Oh my God. Some of the stuff he said this week is off the charts. He defended Biden again. He defended Biden over the age issue. And it is a crazy... let me see if I can find it. Ardent, Rob Schneider, and James Woods. Yeah. I would say James is more based, but yeah, Rob Schneider's pretty cool. Was there anything else here? Something about... Oh, well, there's Ozzy Osbourne. He's mad at Kanye West because he denied him sampling of a song called War Pigs, which was one of Black Sabbath's big songs. And he says he's an anti-Semite, which he he's definitely said anti-Semitic things, crazy things. I think he's just nuts. I don't necessarily think he's an anti-Semite, but I think he's literally nuts. But so that was the thing. Ardent, Seth Rogen not based, but yeah. So shoot, I forgot what I was gonna do. Oh, I was gonna look for the Seth MacFarlane thing. I gotta read you this if I can find it. Farlane. Is this him? I used to follow him all the time. Now this is another Seth MacFarlane account. Oh, come on. Is it Seth MacFarlane, one word? Oh, gosh. Maybe it's MacFarlane. Todd McFarlane. Am I spelling the name right? Is it M-A-C? Have I been banned? That would be funny. McFarlane? McFarlane. That sounds wrong. McFarlane? Oh, there it is. Oh, it is McFarlane. Okay. So, he's always posting stuff about Trump and Biden. Oh, okay, here it is. Here's his defense of Biden. Let's see, Kite. First Kite. Seth MacFarlane is the best grifter on the planet. The left hated his show because makes fun of people, but love his politics. The right watch it, separating art and artists, keeping him rich. That's interesting. Yeah, you'd think Seth MacFarlane would be a little more right, simply because they tried to cancel him back in the 90s. They basically canceled the show. The FCC went after him and everything. You think he'd be a little more anti-government, but he is not, man. What killed me, and I always tell this story, watching Family Guy, the 2-part Trump episode, I finally said I'm done. Because that episode, those 2 episodes they're so pathetic. First off, he's making fun of Trump, which is fine, but the way he does it is so pathetic and lazy to me. I just hated it. But the end of the show, what he does is, instead of going after everybody like South Park does, he presents Justin Trudeau, who at the time had already been exposed as he's got a lot of corruption in his government. Nothing compared to what he's been accused of now. But at that time, he was facing all kinds of corruption things. He already knew about Mr. Captain Blackface, and all the times he did blackface so many times he doesn't even remember how many times he's done it. At the end of the episode, he portrays him as some sort of great guy who flies in on a Segway and is way better than Trump. And I just thought that was the most outrageous, stupid comparison he could have possibly made, right? It would have been one thing if he brought in him and then kind of made him a better guy than Trump, but also said, oh, he's also an a-hole too. I couldn't, man, that was the biggest shill I've ever seen in a comedy show. It was pathetic, especially for Family Guy, which was kind of out there for a while. I mean, they did a great episode about smoking, if you remember that one, where Peter becomes a lobbyist for the smoking industry, and he goes to Washington and runs amok. That's a great episode. That's one of the early ones. God, I can't believe it's the same guy. But anyhow, this is the tweet where he defends Joe Biden's age. This is after all the recent gaffes. The biggest gaffe being that press conference where he just, watch the recent press conference. It was taken, the White House put a private link on that press conference because they don't want people to see it now, although it's all over the internet. You can find it. But holy cow, he is messed up. I mean, you've seen Biden do a bunch of stuff before where he just loses his train of thought and forgets and whatever. This is just beyond. He forgets a ton of stuff in this. Anyhow, Seth MacFarlane tweets, "This is something that's been rattling around in my brain for some time. And Bill McKibben, some writer, finally articulated it here better than I ever could. It's worth a read from start to finish." And the article is, "Opinion, age matters, which is why Biden's age is his superpower." So it's an op-ed basically arguing that the reason you want Biden in is because he's so experienced, even though he's very old and crotchety, you gotta have Biden. Even though he's losing his damn mind, he's clearly demented. No, we need Biden. Kite. He speaks the message heavily, and that's enough for them because Mean Joke Show makes center and right people follow and hear him with potential convert. Yeah, I don't think they see him as a potential convert anymore, if they ever did, because Seth has been this way for a while, and he goes on the Bill Maher show, and there's not a single red pill going in that mouth. He bats them away. Bill Maher is way more red pilled, I would say, than Seth. At least once in a while, Bill will come out. I just think, oh my God, he's finally going to say it. He's voting for Trump. I think Bill Maher might secretly vote for Trump and just not tell anybody. He might just be cynical enough to say, F it, I'll just vote for Trump. Who the hell's going to know? But Seth, to me, sounds like a true believer. I mean, go to his Twitter feed. I mean, I guess you could argue it's all fake, but, oh man, he does not like Trump. I think he's a Kool-Aid drinker in this particular aspect. But I'm sorry to get so political in my live stream. I try not to do that, partly because I'm worried I'll say something that YouTube will get, and partly because I don't know if people even want to hear my political opinions on a live stream, because I could go on and on and on, believe me. You think I go on and on about movies? Politics? Oh, I'll go on. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm one of those guys, I'll talk you into the ground. We'll be like 40 minutes into an argument, and you'll just go, listen, okay. You know what? Okay. You know what? I'm done. But, okay. You said some things, I'm going to think about them. Let's just stop talking now and do anything else. I usually wear people out that way. But that's just me. Anyhow. What time is it? Oh my God, it's 10:47. So, yeah, I got to start wrapping up. Got to start calling this a stream. I think it was a good stream, though. I think it was a great stream. This surprisingly well attended. I was a little worried it would just be me by myself for an hour. going, all right, I'm going to wrap this thing. Nobody's coming in. But way more people don't care about sports ball, I guess. Kite, I mean, to the powers that be, Seth MacFarlane could be helping to convert center and right wingers to the left by using his show to captivate the message to convert. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think Family Guy has sort of run its course. It's the problem with that, I think, is that, I mean, it's not the worst theory, and he probably tries, but at this point, fewer and fewer people are just watching TV. You know, it's a dying medium. It's slowly being choked out. There's nothing left. I mean, Family Guy is arguably one last bright spot, but like, how many more years could they even do Family Guy? Same thing with The Simpsons. Same thing with a lot of shows. It's like, you know, I unplugged from TV years ago, and I don't miss it at all. In fact, if I suddenly got a bunch of money and could afford cable TV again, I don't know if I would even bother. I mean, I think I would probably just go, I don't need to see that. Maybe I would rent a few things that I wanted to see. But I used to watch, I was religious. I would watch Family Guy, The Simpsons, Bob's Burgers, all that stuff. I loved it. But now I don't even miss it. I've been so disappointed by some of the stuff that's come out of it. Even Bob's Burgers, which for a while what they did to Jimmy Pesto was not good. They ruined his career, I think. But, and that's a shame, because he was a good character on that show. So, but they don't care, you know. Ardent, great stream. I think Mar is that cynical. He very well might be. He's a pretty cagey dude, I think. My old boss. I never really talked to him. No, I didn't talk to him at all. I talked to the producers once, but I should have gone to New York and met him. I'm an idiot for not going, but that's water under the bridge. One day I hope to meet him again, just to say, oh, I used to write your jokes. My dream is to go on Bill Maher's show and then like bring all my jokes that didn't get bought by Politically Incorrect, and then like while I'm sitting in the show, like if a topic comes out, I'll flip through my jokes and then find a joke that's relevant and tell it, and then demand my $75, which would be fun to do. Just have a little clock during the show, like if I hit a joke, it goes ding, and I get $75. That'd be fun. But I'm not famous enough to be on Bill's show, unfortunately. He's too big. He's too big for me. I wish I could get on one of these shows. It'd be fun. I always wanted to go on like a real talk show, but by the time it'll be like, by the time they let me on, TV will be dead. Ardent, LOL. You know, the closest thing was that show I got on locally, All Things South Jersey. I can't even get on the Philly stations anymore. I got on a couple of times when I did the Jersey Devil comic book, and I told those stories. They didn't go well. My appearances did not go well, but now I'm ready. Before I either wasn't ready or the circumstances were so horrible that it couldn't possibly go well for me. But man, I just need one more shot at it. I want to get on TV at least one more time before it completely dies, so I could sell the Pineys. I think if I got on TV in the Philadelphia market where everybody in South Jersey watches, I think I could sell a ton of books. But will that ever happen? I don't know. One of these days. Maybe instead my live stream will go viral and people will say, oh, this guy's really funny. Oh, let's buy his books. You know, I could be like one of the other asshats I talked about who sells their books or comics. The only difference is, see, I think the problem with the comic book guys doing that, they publish these comics, and it's kind of like not enough material. Ardent, me on TV, less Robert Downey Jr., more Morton Downey Jr. I remember Morton Downey Jr. Oh God, he was a guy. I knew a guy who went on Morton Downey Jr.'s show. He went on as two different people. He was an actor and a comedian. So he went on as a gay body painter on one episode, and then on another episode he went on a movie. It was a slasher movie musical where people were horribly butchered while they sang, and it wasn't a real movie, but I don't think the producers cared. But and then he was slated to go on more, but then I think the show ended or whatever. But yeah, so but you know, people who do the personality based comics, and I talked a little bit about this on my Fandom Pulse articles. You know, I think it works up to a point, but they don't have enough material, I think, to sustain like the comic. Like the comic needs to come out more for that to work in terms of the reading. And I don't think they push the reading end of it enough. They don't push the story enough, and a lot of these guys, they just can't write. You know, some of them have serviceable stories, but, you know, like if you read Isom 1 and 2 and Alpha Core, it's night and day. You know, Isom's kind of meandering around, whereas Alpha Core is a real story. It's a good story. It's solid. It has beginning, middle, and end. It could be a movie. It's perfectly good. Most of the guys who write in comics aren't even, you know, they can't even do that. And that, you know, it's not like it's a mind-blowing story. No offense to Chuck Dixon. I thought it was great, but, you know, it's like you got to do stories that are, if you're only doing one graphic novel, you got to do a really good story. Like a really good story with lots of detail and cool stuff and something new, something unique that goes, and people go, oh, wow, this was awesome. I got to see more of this. But a lot of these guys just, they don't have the writing chops. It's not that they're bad people. It's not that their ideas aren't good, but the execution. Like writers who really know how to layer it, you know? And the only way I can explain it to these art guys is like, you do art, and there's layers in your art, right? There's different thicknesses in your lines, and different shades, and you do different backgrounds and shadows, and you're obsessed with light sources and all that kind of stuff. It's the same thing with writing, but instead of that, there is subtext, there is dialogue, there are characters that say one thing when they really mean another, and stuff like that. That almost never happens in a comic because, you know, sometimes I write it in and an artist can't even draw it, right? So sometimes I'll write dialogue like that where a character is saying something but doesn't mean it, but the artist will draw it in such a way that they look like they mean it. Because maybe I didn't put in a clear enough note not to do it that way, and I'll have to kind of change the context of the story a little bit to make it work. But or I change the dialogue altogether to make it, to send the message home. But, you know, there's a lot of subtleties in writing that, you know, comic guys, a lot of them just don't have those chops, and they don't see it either, which is very frustrating because I try to tell them that, and they kind of get it, but they kind of don't. So, and this is why I think a lot of comics kind of meander into, maybe they're hot for a while, but then they kind of just disappear because, you know, when you look at the writing of, say, the early Spider-Man with Ditko and Lee, it's so good, right? Same thing with Fantastic Four, early Fantastic Four. It is very good. It is at a different level, which is why these characters, in my view, have endured so long. Like, it's up here. And they just don't see it. They kind of ape it, but they don't see what it's really about. Like, the Fantastic Four was epic at every level. It has such intensity to it. And some guys try to do it, and they do it with their own characters, and they kind of get some of it, but they don't really get it. They don't see all the little detail in there. But anyhow, I'm preaching to the choir to some respects, I think. All right, I'm going to wrap it here because I'm losing my voice, and I'm sadly out of iced tea. So that's it for me. Tony D and Little Joan. Oh, tuckered out Little Joan. Where am I going? Oh, okay. So I got to end the live stream. If I can find the button. Oh, it's over here. So thanks for tuning in. We will see you in the next one. Oh, speaking of which, I'll be at Nerdfest next Sunday. No, next Sunday I have nothing. So live stream at 7. We'll see you in the next one.